Everyone, welcome back to the Capital Mindset Show. We're going to be doing the live from outside again, just like last week on the European edition, drinking my coffee. I just had a very long call, you could say. Some of you actually are coming from that call. But yeah, we're going to be talking about, I guess, starting off with the YouTube drama. I'm more new to the YouTube game, you could say, in terms of like paying attention a lot to what's going on. But let's talk about it because I guess it's fun. Some tabloid stuff. You probably guys have seen Chicken Genius Singapore and Sasha Yanshin going at it with each other. And I actually just watched, and we were actually talking about it last night. It was incredible. The financial education's, yeah, I have the picture he sent me last night. Yeah, financial education's credentials that were absolutely hilarious. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check that one out. But yeah, uh, I don't even know what to say to that. Anyways, can I spell Rue without EU in the stream? Yeah. This is for you guys out there in Europe. I don't know what time. It's just like a 6 hour difference from here in Spain, I think. So it's still pretty late for you guys. I think it's like approaching the nighttime. So as far as like credentials or licenses go, I don't have any right now. I have to get one right now for my next employer. So I have to pass all my CPA exams within the year because I got in with them through an acceleration program because I got to basically catch up. But based on my experience, I've been working at the portfolio branch of a company for about 5 years, 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. Wow, time goes by fast. I remember when I started, but that's more like experience credentials. And then I use that to then leverage myself into another position later. Very grateful for the opportunity that they provided me, of course. I think it was really good, a very good way to actually grow wealth. And I still have an equity stake technically in them. So even when I depart from them, I still have an exposure and relationship with them. And that actually and no one ever asked me this, but that actually stemmed from an opportunity I gained from tutoring. So my tutoring business was I guess the big changer for me because that actually gave me a lot of exposure to different people out there. And honestly, with a lot of business, I think business is also a lot about knowing people or getting to know other people, getting yourself out there, getting that exposure. And I learned that young. I got lucky in that sense. Okay, so credentials. Oh yeah, balance sheets, multiple balance sheets. It's like 8:30 over there. Wow. Okay, so it's an okay time. I try to do it earlier. So what's up with Meta today? So Meta, if I remember correctly, we were actually discussing this in the call, um, and that actually was most of the like Meta, Netflix, all these stocks. They're actually kind of having a little bit of a rut today. Again, if you actually look at the advertising sector, aside from like Google today, and let me actually pull up Meta here to remind myself or see what it's at right now. Yeah, it's about $157. So it's actually finally below my point of adding. You know what? After this live stream, I'm going to add some Meta. So you guys will see that updated. I did not buy Netflix today because I already see that question coming in. I haven't bought Netflix today, but Meta has now reached the price point, so it's below the 160 mark that I was touting all those days, or not all those days, all those videos back. So I'm excited about that one. Networking is key, and that's something I tell if there's any young people in there, your university, don't squander your opportunity at university. Don't squander your opportunity while being young and naive. It's more forgiving when you're young. So, as we get older, the naiveness gets less forgiving, but you can still carry it in a proper way. I just learned that as well. And then I also mentorship, but not in the mentorship, the scammy way, because there's a lot of like, I guess, scam influencers, you would say, that are like, oh, you got to get a mentor. You guys know who I'm talking about, Ty Lopez. But yeah, you got to be careful with that. But a good mentor can go a long way in the industry and the respective industry that you're actually focusing on. Someone that actually looks out for your best interests at heart. Um, and yeah, even my wife had like an incredible journey to where she got to today. It was not always easy where she got the job where she's at today, which is a very good job. She had to work for it, and it took definitely some time. And you have to sometimes quote unquote pay your dues. And in my opinion, I'm at the stage in my life where I'm trying to get experience in various different industries or various different avenues of the same industry, because really the industry is accounting, finance, within asset management or in that criteria. So everything that I'm doing, I strategically plan because I have like an end goal in mind. Okay. So that being said, networking is absolutely key. I remember, for example, for the company I'm about to go to, I had the opportunity to talk to, it's kind of going to give away too much information, but the partners got to know me. I don't really tell the partners, of course, that I have this channel. We'll see we'll cross that bridge when it gets here, but I'm sure they'll be fine with it. And then my boss here and where I currently work is, I'm not at work right now, but where I currently work is they know about this channel. Of course, they're like, don't talk too much about it and we're fine. But yes, so I see a lot of commentary about Meta. Um, yeah, so you see, that's why I say I build a strategy. I build a strategy on when I like to add a company. The 160 price and below is the price point that I had designated that I would really like to add to Meta. And in fact, Meta, I talked about it in the last video, in the 3M video towards the end. I ask everyone, what do you guys think if I show like a 13F filing of sorts with the Capital Mindset Holdings portfolio, not my personal holdings, but the Capital Mindset Holdings. And I'll have, well, some of my personal holdings have been transferred into it. And I did so in order to actually avoid fees with the bank. So to get a status with the bank, you have to have like a certain amount of assets underneath that entity's name. And so, because I hate fees, I just hate fees. So I was willing to do it. But I'm probably going to end up doing that, and it'll be pretty exciting. I'm trying to remember, my goal at the end of the day is to try to maintain some semblance of privacy. And so I think that as the channel grows, it will be almost inevitable that those I work with know about the channel and vice versa. So I'm trying to strike a balance, and it's, I'm still young and naive. You got to understand, I'm still young and naive. So some people I've spoken to that are older than me say that it's a mistake even to even talk about it because there's no way and it's going to cause drama or whatever. But regardless, because I want my workplace to kind of just be my workplace and then kind of separate it in that regard. This is the fun pastime, and then all of you guys are like the community of Capital Mindset. It's a different work environment. It's a different environment. Of course, I know some of you are actually at that organization, so it'd be funny if we ever meet each other. Just try, if we ever meet each other and it's not like a well-known thing, just like keep it on the down low. Keep it on the down low, and then we'll just talk, in private when we see each other. But yeah, you guys know. Meta is still good volume in my opinion, but yeah, I would love to add more at these prices. Yeah, you see, like, and where I was going with this is Meta is actually probably going to be one of the positions I start buying as I'm deploying capital under the company's name, so under Capital Mindset's name. And yeah, I have transferred actually I'll tell you what stocks I did transfer. I transferred over some Global Payments shares from my personal name onto the company's name. I also transferred some Netflix. I transferred some Aerojet Rocketdyne, and I transferred I think I have a small little bit of Meta underneath. And I think it's at a cost basis. The shares that got transferred for some reason are at a cost basis of like 200. So then those shares, I guess I can definitely bring down Capital Mindset's cost basis quite a bit now. So I start on July 18th, but July 18th is when I open up. So there's a pilot program where I'm at with this organization. So depending on how I do and my friend, which we're starting this same gig together, depending on how we do in this pilot program, they're actually going to continue this program, and they're going to do so for all new hires. And it's the accelerated CPA program, basically. So they're going to start doing that. And depending if we do really well on the CPA exams, they're going to continue it. But I start on the 18th, and it's a program where basically they bring in the tutors. We learn from them, and we work like a 40-hour work week, but just studying, which is awesome. And so we're basically going to get paid to study. So that's going to be good. But I start technically the 18th. All right. What do you mean blow it for the new folks? What do you mean by blow it? That could mean many things. With all right, so all my portfolio today up except Meta, Netflix, bullish. Yeah, so a lot of the market is up today. My Google position's up 4% today, and my Netflix and Meta stocks are down. Again, those have a decent amount of headwinds. We actually talked about that in the call, and just so I stop referencing it as the call. Every first day of the week on trading day, I have a call on the Discord. and we just talk about today. We had like there was a lot of questions. We actually ended up having a 2 hour, almost a 2 hour call. It was pretty crazy, but so I can refer to that. I'm sorry, it's my brain going into that. I'm contacting your PML, Fabio. Please don't. What is your nibble and gulp price for Bank of America? My gulp is definitely in the 20s. So my nibble is already there. It's definitely already there. I already started nibbling. So if you saw that I added my Bank of America, I re-added it in the mid to high 30s. And then as it gets lower, it's already kind of like my bites. And then as we get into the, you know what, that has to be, that's a capital mindset quote, nibble, bite, gulp. Yeah, you know, it's definitely something. I'm gonna make a mug and I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna drink from it like here, and you can see like dip, nibble, bite, mug. Mm, gulping down that coffee. All right, so and I just saw a question. So yeah, answer this question. Rick below 50. Rick is below $50. Okay, Julius, I did promise you I would add Rick. I'll add Rick today. Just it's gonna be in the speculative side of the portfolio just for fun, just so I say I have it, and we're fellow shareholders. And then I can tell my wife, hey, honey, we have exposure to a strip club. How does that make you feel? And she'll probably be like, oh, she'll be like, you're so mature, Fabio. Like that. I can't ever replicate her accent. Her accent sounds so much. Well, you guys saw her talk. Sounds better than how I make it sound. She always thinks I'm making fun of her. All right. So you should, yeah, I don't know what this means. What the fuck is getting paid to study? I gotta use all my vacation. Really? Well, that's the thing. We're part of the pilot program. So you better hope that we succeed. And if we succeed, they're gonna continue this program. And then I don't know if anyone will be able to join the program, but this program will continue if we're successful, and it's gonna actually be transitioned to the entire company. So even in Canada, that's what I'm told. So like a lot of pressures on me and my friend to really succeed. Well, me and my friend and like I don't know how many other people. There's a couple other people in the program, but it's all in the Florida area. I don't know why they chose Florida too. Oh wait, I know why. It's because the freaking thing is here, and so that's why. Yeah, yes, because it's over here. Anyways, blow it like Lafufu. So I don't know what blow it like Lafufu meant, but I want to actually discuss because Strongman sent me and I don't want to take away from his video that he did a video in his car about the credentials thing that was absolutely hilarious. But it shows that he's actually watching Strongman's videos, and Strongman is getting to him. I think Strongman's continuing to be persistent, but investing since late 2008 is credential number one. I don't know how that really is a credential. When I hear the word credential, I mean, isn't credential, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought the definition of like credential is like, some sort of vocational, educational background, a degree of sorts, or even a license of sorts. I think that's what a credential is defined as. It's not even, is it experience? Is a credential really experience in and of itself? I think that's just experience. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but yeah, study economics. I don't even know what any of this means. And the credentials is actually spelt wrong. Yeah, he put an I in there, but yes. Um, yeah, you see, why did you spell it right, Ricky? You have to spell it the new way of spelling it. Anyways, that's enough about that. My deep throat price. Okay, so that's going to be a new category of acquisition. Deep throat price for Meta. I don't know. That probably have to be under $100. I will 100% buy. Well, okay, like if I do any sort of that kind of stuff, it will be just with like quotes, and then there'll be no pressure at all if you guys want it or not. All right, so just want to be very clear about that. So, but yeah, I would probably make a mug, but it's only for me to use, to be honest. But if you guys wanted to get them too, sure, why not? I'll see how hard it is to even set up. Been so busy. Like the CPA has literally been killing me. I can tell you that. If any of you, I know JP, you're studying CPA. It's tough. The audit part of the CPA exam is incredibly boring, but not that bad. Incredibly boring. Just the exam part, because I know you're gonna take that as like audit sucks. No, it doesn't suck. Nibble, bite, gulp. What comes after gulp? Yes, and JP said it. um, I'm sure you would choke after gulp. But yeah, you spelled credentials right, Ricky. How dare you? It's all about many conference calls. Yes, exactly. That's the credentials that we have to talk about. Um, Fisting the press. I love this. I love this. Yeah. Uh, okay, so Ethan, so the question is, it's actually per exam. So there's like a month and a half per exam that they've provided for us as designation that we basically go in. We actually got to choose whether or not we wanted to do it hybrid or completely from home. I chose hybrid simply because I want to see the tutor in person. Sometimes some explanations are best done in person. So that's what I decided to do. But it's the way the program is going to be designated is simply that it's per exam. So each exam, you get a month and a half to kind of set that up, and then you get paid a portion, not the full salary, but you get a portion of your salary. But it's really good for studying. Like it's like what? So it, imagine that in college. I mean, well, actually, I didn't get paid to study. I didn't get the full like scholarship on top of that. My brother did though. My brother's absolutely insane. My brother's a mathematician. I mention him occasionally, but I'm trying to get him into go into working where I'm at right now, and he could get paid a stupid amount of money if I'm being honest. So he's going to probably go pursue his master's. This is a side comment. He's probably going to go pursue his master's. I'm trying to get him to definitely consider doing his PhD at least. And no, he's absolutely insane. I'm completely moronic next to him. But yes. All right. So um, capital mindset. Can you explain what a Jeremy's PE is? Could not find it on Investopedia. So Jeremy's PE is actually the reverse of the PE, or there's actually two things he did because I know that he said it's Jeremy's PE, where there's the one where he made the mistake where he divided earnings divided by price. So he basically calculated earnings yield. And then there's the one where he did something with enterprise. I forgot what he did, but he did something with enterprise value, and then took the earnings and said that's the valuation or that's his PE. Except a lot of people already do that. It's not really a Jeremy PE. So, but yes. What's your deep penetration? Dude, I love this. I love this. And then I almost skipped this one. I fist for free. But okay, so my deep penetration. It's just like in my mind. Oh, it's gosh dang it. But yeah, I'd say for Warner Brothers Discovery, I'd have to really look at it. I'm waiting for the numbers to consolidate, but honestly, like where it's at now is probably a pretty good price. But I'm kind of I don't know why I'm so hesitant to buy. I should just do it, just on gut feelings. Just kidding. But it's at $14. So I probably want to do it anyways, just to lower my cost basis, but I'm just waiting for the numbers to consolidate. No, I'm not in Europe. I'm not in Europe. This is not Europe. This is America. No, but it's for you guys who are in Europe, because I want to show every week that I do care about you guys, and I hear you guys when you guys say the other live streams are too late. So I'm trying to be accommodative to everyone, because again, capital mindset is about the audience. It is about you guys. So track record equals credentials. I think so that's correct. The credentials in terms of like what have you done? I think experience is a form of credentials, but I was asking for precisely like in the definition of credentials, I think, and you know what? Let's just use our dictionary because I think it's just like, degrees and stuff. Technically speaking, but credentials. Okay. Qualification, achievement, personal quality, or aspect of a person's background, typically when used to indicate the suitable. Okay, so actually, no, it's a achievement. It could be an achievement, a personal quality. Okay, so technically those are credentials then. Personal quality. So having connections is apparently a credential, or it could be argued to be a credential. It's an aspect of a person's background. Like that's pretty broad. That means that a lot of things could be credentials. Therefore, all of us have, some form of credentials, you know. Okay, so never mind. I thought it was more Fabio. I saw that comment. I'll get to it. That's amazing. The Fabio Chavez. um, how to get rich? Are you asking me how to get rich fast? Well, the answer is there's not really a definitive way that everyone can do it, but Some people get lucky. Some people work really hard in this particular industry. Some people it takes a long time. Some people have later in life. I knew one of my close friends, the mother. I've referenced her in the past, obviously not by name because I'm not going to dox her, but she became a doctor, and I mentioned in this last week. She became a doctor at the age of 40, so never too late. And she's pretty well off now. She's actually a cardiologist now, but she started at the age of 40 to give you an idea. So, um, y'all hiring? No, actually, we're the team's actually pretty small. I'm leaving, and they already have someone that's actually going to replace me. But um, it's not so much like yeah, they're hiring in other parts of the business, but not for the team I was on. All right, so if Jeremy uses his own PE, why is he buying companies that don't have any PE? LOL. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Have you ever looked at C Limited? I have looked at C Limited. They have a lot of different cool aspects of their business. They have a gaming, e-commerce, all that, but it's not really my cup of tea personally because the thing with Amazon is Amazon's not an e-commerce business. It's we've talked about this every time we've done an Amazon video, going back last year in the first Amazon video when I was explaining PE versus cash flows or net income and cash flows and boring video. But yeah, I'd say that you know it, the gaming aspect intrigues me because it's something separate from e-commerce that can be very high margin. But yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it looks cheap. It's just they have a lot of debt saddled. They're saddled with debt. So that's what's kind of holding back. And the market has to digest it. I said this in the last Warner Bros. Discovery. I also referenced it in the Discord call today, that the market has to digest new things. And something like Warner Bros. Discovery, which is a new merger, it has to digest it before it kind of figures out what the heck is going on. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? We saw this with United Technologies when it split up into Raytheon Technologies, Otis, and Carrier. I participated in Raytheon Technologies and Otis. I ignored Carrier, but all of them were good in hindsight at the time. Yeah, you can get rich fast with Tattoo Chef. Capital Mindset, how do you account for share change, especially in unprofitable businesses, to make sure you don't double count? So there's a couple ways of actually doing it. I don't want to go into too much detail because technically speaking, I know why you're asking because everything money, right? Everything money software isn't able to do it. At the end of the day, you account if you account for the share repurchases from the cash flows. Think about the factors at play. So think of like ratios, right? To kind of simplify it. So what are we taking into account? The shares. All right, here's my hint. And then you probably get it from this. And then don't tell them. But there's a way you can do it. There's two ways. There's one that's more complicated way, probably a little bit more accurate, and then there's a less accurate way. So I'll give you the less accurate way because that way it's not like revealing stuff. But the less accurate way is actually to, and this is kind of off the top of my head, and it's just math. It literally is just math at the end of the day. So if you're really good at math, I'll try to break it down and follow along, use my tutoring skills I did when I tutored math. But if you break it down from a per share basis, you are removing that factor. But it adds to some other complexities, but you can do it in that way to avoid double counting, and then you revert it back to its price. So if you break it down to its per share basis and you do it across time, that can work, but it's not perfect. And that's a way to avoid double count. That's one way. And that's actually like a publicly disclosed way to avoid double counting. That's something you kind of learn in one of your university classes. Well, at least when I was in university, they taught it in one of the classes. And it was basically in financial modeling. To avoid double counting, you would do it in that way. That's one way of doing it. But yeah, because the thing is, if you don't account for share dilution or share repurchases, your model is going to be off. Your model is going to be off. It just is. There's no way it's going to be that accurate if you don't account for that. So you have to. It's not something you can just ignore. Of course, in the model I designed, it gives me the optionality to reject it or apply it in either case. But if you don't account for it, of course your model's going to be off. So like, for example, we can't sit here and say, like, let's think of it logically. Right? If we had to ignore it, what would that mean? Well, that would mean that any dilution events would be a black swan event for our evaluation. We wouldn't be able to reasonably make any assumptions if something were to happen in terms of dilution, because dilution does in fact affect the realizable gains of that investment. So we have to account for it. It's not something that we can avoid. Okay. Hopefully that kind of gets into it. But yeah, deep out of the money call option 7%. uh, on 10x leveraged 100% allocate. Yeah, that's how you get rich quick. Yeah. Um, oh, I got a notification from an article. Markel, buy the dip before it's too late. Wow. All right, Capital Mindset, thoughts on Ray Dalio's short position on Europe stocks? Well, he's probably betting on a slowdown in the European economy that's going to be far more drastic than the United States. And okay, like we are probably going to see that. The consumer is going to get crushed on average in Europe, more so than the United States. We've been talking about this. Remember when we talked about energy? When you get food, energy, and housing rising at rapid rates, that discretionary spending gets crushed. We see that again with a lot of these companies. But you also consider that Europe kind of did this almost to themselves. With the lockdowns were probably like Sweden probably executed pretty well, but the lockdowns were so severe in some areas that were so dependent on tourism. Like when I went to Spain, I noticed the difference between my travels, and I was like, wow, like Spain got hit. Like Spain's like suffering. And I talked to my family that lives there actually. It's very cheap for them to live there. But I was talking to them while they live there, and they were explaining to me, because I don't live there, what has happened, what has occurred over the past years, what has deteriorated over the past years, and how are the people feeling, how the people are frustrated with what's going on. And this is kind of the same. I've spoken to some Frenchmen as well. I have family in France as well. I've spoken to them as well. Anecdotally, of course, let me just say that, but the data also kind of corroborates this as well. People are not, they're not doing, I'm speaking broadly speaking, the rich will do well in whatever scenario, but broadly speaking, they're not doing as well. Things have occurred to kind of harm their way of living so far. All right, so Jerome P, I don't know what answer this for, but thank you. Awesome. All right, you quit. Join me in flipping burgers. Hinge growth potential. Yeah, definitely. Um, absolutely, Fernando. My tractor is massively since is up massively since I bought it Friday. I'm selling a course now. Oh, good. Sell a course. Grift. I'm kidding. How to get rich fast. Steal five. I actually don't have any cash in my wallet. If you stole my wallet in the broad daylight, you would get nothing. I actually really don't carry cash. That's so Gen Z of me that I don't carry cash, but I'm entirely credit cards, Apple Wallet if I can help it. As soon as my state legalizes the ID, which they've already done it, but they're working on implementing it now, I'm not going to have a wallet whatsoever. So you're going to have to steal my phone, and yeah, good luck with that. Uh, so but yeah, I think that's the beautiful way of the future. I think that over time, things are going to be more securitized. People are going to have, less of a need to carry these wallets, and I think that's great. I really do. But my only concern is that Fed doesn't, do a central bank digital currency. Like people don't understand that that's how you really change the system. That's how you really make it so that we can definitely print money, and then Americans will realize what printing money is. Of course, Americans will be like, oh yeah, we printed all that money and nothing happened. It's like, oh yeah, just you wait. Just you wait. All right, capital mindset. Do you think you would win an arm wrestling contest against strongman? I have no idea. I mean, uh, like if we saw each other in person, we could sign up. I don't know, but like, I have no idea. I mean, I'm not like I don't have small arms. I think, but I don't know. I guess that would be for the audience to discuss. We'll discuss that if we ever become really large YouTubers. We'll do a boxing match, like a friendly boxing match. My weight right now is I'm about 215 pounds, so I don't know what weight he is. So I think we're probably close in the same weight division. But he was in the army. I was not in the army. No combat experience in that regard. I was technically a black belt, but like, that's different. Not the same thing. Capital One said to you, look at retained earnings. What do you think about businesses that have consistently negative retained earnings? Depends on the business. Depends on the business. Some businesses have negative retained earnings because they're just exporting all that cash out to the shareholders. So a lot of pharmaceuticals, you might notice, have negative retained earnings. So in essence, what that means is that their liabilities are in excess of assets. And so they show up as a negative retained earnings line item. So it just honestly depends on the stock that we're looking at. Everything is so dependent. And if you watch Capital Mindset, that is the one lesson. If I were to stop tomorrow, I'm not stopping tomorrow, but if I were to stop all videos tomorrow, the one thing that I would like everyone who has ever watched this channel to just take away is investing is so nuanced. It is so different from one company to one another. I learned that where I work now, basically by looking at private businesses, one private business to another private business, the analysis change would be so drastic. It was fantastic to learn, right? So, you know, this business you treat it this way, this business you treat it this way. There's some basic principles that are consistent, such as paying attention to the fundamentals of the business per se, but the nature of the business is what would change drastically. So if all stocks took another 30% haircut, you had to go all in one stock. Why is it Google? Well, because Google is a company that has I've referenced this in the past. It has money to basically burn on all these bets. It has the ability to basically take on all these different projects, and they don't really necessarily have to pan out. It has basically more cash than it really knows what to do with. And the businesses that it dominates, it dominates. It's not even like a question. It just completely dominates its categories. Well, you kind of think of, you know, for example, search dominates search. YouTube is dominating content. Absolutely, there's nothing else like it on earth. You know, every time someone says the the next YouTube, right? The next YouTube, and I referenced this a little bit when I talked about Spotify all a while ago, right? I said Spotify is the only one I see with the potential to kind of even match or somewhat come close to YouTube, and that's saying something because nothing else is there. Even Twitch, like Twitch streamers have been coming on YouTube. Have you been, you know, paying attention to that? I've been paying attention to that just because I'm an investor in Google. So I try to pay attention to these trends. A lot of those Twitch streamers have been complaining about Twitch, and they've been actually transitioning a little bit to YouTube. The YouTube audience is here. We're doing a live stream here. Of course, we're doing kind of an impromptu, not impromptu, but you know, very informal live stream. Basically in the backyard, just live stream. But this is a fantastic way to connect. I mean, I'm connecting right now with however many people are in the chat right now, and it's awesome. It's a way for content creation is, you know, it's here to stay in all forms. And like I said to Christopher, like I think that the market itself will kind of self-regulate, and you know, good ideas in the end, I believe, will win against the bad ideas, if given enough time, given enough time. And I think some people, of course, will have to face the lessons, the hard lessons, and they're gonna get the hit. That's fair. But others, they're going to, you know, just listen. And I think I have faith in the average intelligence. Okay, I'm a bit more optimistic. Okay, that's my opinion, and I think people can for themselves make the judgment. So yes, AT&T paid 80 billion for Warner. Yes, so AT&T was an empire builder, perfect example of that. So together are 30 billion. Who's crazy here? Okay, but the thing is, look at the debt. So take a look at that enterprise value. They have a decent amount of debt. So if you pay attention to that, you know, it's not as good as we think. But yes, AT&T paid way too much, and because of that, they deserved to suffer, and they did. AT&T CEO at the time was trying to empire build, and empire building is something you learn in university, in finance or your business classes, or case studies, even in MBA. When you're getting your MBA, you look back at like business case studies. You start, oh, my cat's like literally trying to get out because he sees me out here. Chill out, cat. He gets jealous. He's like, let me out. I can't let him out because there's like sometimes there's like fleas and these squirrels out here. But anyways, yeah, crazy stuff. All right, capital mindset. What sources do you use when looking at specific macro segments, estimated total addressable market, market share as a player? There's tons of research out there from different firms, like market level research, that you can find pretty much for free. And then there's paid sources. So where we work, we actually use a couple paid sources. That's something I can't really talk about, but we do use some paid sources that they provide for us, and then we actually just look at it ourselves. And then it's something would not be at liberty to share, but that's something that I do. But what I've noticed is also there's plenty of free resources that also give you a good enough idea. And if I'm being honest, if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think it's entirely necessary for the long-term investor to actually even use any of these resources. I think that's more of a optimization standpoint of when you really want to pay attention to certain things. So for example, technically speaking, the liquidity crunch is a non-event for a very long-term investor. It's something that shouldn't even come to your mind. Like if you're an index fund investor, for example, who cares, right? Literally, who cares? You dollar cost average in, and you literally just worry about your income coming in, and that's what you focus on. You build your career, you focus on increasing your income. Maybe you do stocks for fun, maybe you like to talk about it, but that's all you do. And then if you're a long-term investor in a lot of these companies, you can spot larger trends. You can identify good companies. You can identify that they're healthy, moderately healthy at a decent price. That's really all that should matter over long periods of time. So technically, that in-depth research is more about optimization. Unless you think that, like, this is a world that we're going to go into like some sort of medieval dark age. But then, don't you have other problems to worry about? So it's more of like positioning. It's all optimization at the end of the day. Is what I would say. European time, baby. A capital mindset day video. Hell yeah, this. Yeah, changes in federal regulation. That sounds like so much fun. In all fairness, I'd rather pay Julius 20K for his course. Yeah. TTCF, 50 years, everybody's herbivore. Yep. Don't throw away your brain for a YouTube boxing match. Yeah, maybe. I'm a giant. Well, I don't know if I'm a giant. I'm always been like you could say heavy. I am heavy bone. That I got from my father. Okay. Like in terms of, I can bench definitely more than my weight. I can do a lot of pull-ups. I'll admit I have gotten a little bit chunkier. I used to be like at a consistent 190, and then I gained a couple pounds on that. And honestly, I think it's because of work. Skew expansion. I see some comments that are so funny. What about TikTok kicking YouTube butt? Yeah, so TikTok, I mean, it's kicking YouTube butt, but it's more of that short form content that YouTube isn't really for, and I hope they don't really go after that. I mean, YouTube is anyways, but like short form content versus long form content, there's a huge appetite for long form content. I think long form content is going to dominate in terms of like the more professional space. Short form content is like teenagers and stuff. If I'm being honest, guys, the most valuable adverts, the thing is, this is what matters at the end of the day. What is the value of the advertiser? Short form content, that individual, I'm not speaking like in terms of measure of humanity. I'm speaking in terms of value for the advertiser. That's not going to be a very valuable target audience, typically speaking. Let me just be frank with you guys. You guys are the most valuable target audience for brands as a whole. Like, why the hell are you like looking up, what to like stocks videos? Why? Why would you be doing that? Because presumably speaking, you guys have disposable income. Okay, that's why, right? So you guys are the most valuable demographic. And let me just tell you, when I look at the, well, actually, no, you're the second most valuable. Most valuable demographic is women in a certain age category with disposable income. Men in the same age category with disposable income are valuable, but not as valuable, because you're a little bit harder to get you to spend some money. But yeah, women technically are the most valuable in terms of advertising. And you see, I'm not measuring you guys as a measure of humanity, I'm measuring just like from the perspective of an advertiser. So yeah, speaking of that, I don't think TikTok technically has that. And I think the creators themselves have more power than the actual platform itself that YouTube still has. YouTube has that power. So like TikTok short form, you have the creator that they themselves are the advertising, right? They themselves wear the brand. And that short form content, short form stimulus, a girl sees the video of another girl, like, oh, that outfit is cute. They have the little, thing there. They're paid to wear that. And then that business gets money, right? The value is derived from the creator entirely. YouTube is a little bit different. And so, yeah, so I don't see it. It's completely two different systems. So I don't think TikTok will make as much money as YouTube. YouTube's potential is far, far better. Okay, so I found a lot of new things on him, and I'm not really gonna talk about it, but I found a lot of new things. He has no idea that stuff is still up, and the internet is a wonderful place that if you are savvy, if you're technology savvy, you can find pretty much everything. And especially for someone who's been around for quite some time, you can find everything. Let me just tell you that. Mm. I've already started sharing with Strongman because it's literally really funny. I'm contemplating on because I don't want to give it attention. I only see it as a source of amusement, but I found like all this old literature and stuff, and it's funny. All right, so spec position in Bitcoin if it drops under 10K, wait till the next generation. My one of my close friends says he's actually planning on doing that, and as a speculation, he's the one who's in he's going to medical school now. Future spawners that may have potential. Future spawners. Okay, so future spawners. Uh, Technically speaking, I mean, it's in my spec side of the portfolio. Well, there were two. I'll only discuss them in live streams, this one in particular. Technically, ASPS was kind of a spawner. They already sold one of their divisions for a stupid amount of money, nearly the entire value of the company. And so when I was investing in ASPS, there was a potential, the market was pricing in some level of bankruptcy risk. And again, there's not a dedicated video to ASPS. Well, actually, no, there's one, but that was when the channel was much smaller. And I'm not going to delete it because, you know, whatever, it's in the past. But definitely it's not a video I would necessarily make today because I don't think it's a responsible avenue to go about it. But I'll talk about it in these live streams because these live streams are so small. If these live streams ever got like really big, I would also debate not speaking about it because of the company size. But it's technically a spawner, but be very careful. I'm not saying it's an investment or it's an opportunity right now. I think the opportunity, if I'm being safe with the argument, it's past. All right. And so you would have to make your own judgment whether or not the price is good today. Overstock is technically a spawner, but like, you know, I'm kind of reaching there. If I had to say another spawner would be Boston Omaha. Again, kind of like reaching for that definition. Because you're asking for future spawners, right? Future spawners. Oh, wait, no, I just gave you actual spawners. Okay, future spawners. Sorry about that. Geez, that's a really hard question because Dropbox might be a future spawner because you're asking about future spawners. Yeah, that's pretty much it that what I think of. And a spawner is, by the way, a company that can develop a business within its business already, or another business inside of it, and then it can eventually, you know, separate it or just have multiple of these kinds of businesses. So you kind of look for that spawner DNA. In reality, yeah, I'd say maybe the ones I mentioned because they're constantly creating new ways of monetization, new services. Dropbox, you know, if I'm being honest, can probably fit that, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Who's wrong? Me? That reminds me, do you invest in gold? I invest in gold like by as like a hobby. I have coins that like it's a hobby. So you could say I invest in gold technically, but I have it as a hobby. Why do you think about now? Why do you think analysts? No, I don't think analysts are stupid. I don't think they're stupid. I think they're analysts are people like everyone, and analysts. I'll say this: it's not that they're stupid. I actually think they're smart people. It's sometimes they're put on like a bad stock, right? So depending on what kind of analyst you are going into the industry, you're not going to get the best pick of the crop, right? That's for the guys who've been in the game for a long time. You might get some crappy company, and some companies are just really difficult to analyze. Sometimes as an analyst, you know, you're overworked. Sometimes you overthink some things. It just depends. And it's not that I think they're dumb or anything. And also, it's that they look at different things. So yeah, if that's what came across in terms of my sentiment, I don't think they're stupid. I don't think analysts are stupid. As a person, no, they're not stupid. If they were that stupid, let me just say they wouldn't be hired. Okay, there wouldn't be the industry for analysts. Analysts serve a purpose and they're necessary. Okay, so it's just I can have disagreements with analysts, and sometimes I have agreements with analysts. There's one and the same. I think analysts are really sometimes a really good a barometer for someone who's just trying to get in touch with an industry and saying, okay, like, well, what is your opinion? Because maybe you're dedicated to that industry, and then so I'll say, okay, show me what you got, show me the research you got, show me what you think the assumptions are, and then I'll look through it, and then I'll take your information because you've done the legwork. You're supposedly have done the research necessary to come up with these estimations, these forward estimations. And from there, I can kind of either build upon it or I can find some issues and then kind of reduce some things, change some things around. But I think a lot of times they're good starting point. But of course, you know, even what's that guy? I always forget his name because I can never pronounce it. The Aswath guy. He talks about this a lot in the free courses he's provided online. That there are some mistakes that they make in some valuations. Okay, so Fabio, been juicing. Wow, I literally have to come back. All right, so what do you think about dogs? I like dogs. Netflix price, Meta or Netflix price better in your opinion? Meta over Netflix right now. I thought we briefly explain your energy prices effect on equity markets. Briefly, okay, briefly. Here you go. Energy price go up. Consumer spending get crunched. Investing get crunched. Investing come from savings. Savings come down. Therefore, less buyer for equity. Equity price either down or flat, or just less buying from retail. That's a quick explanation right there. Probably been juicing. No, definitely not. Probably when trying to decide what to invest in, trend or I have no idea. Those are I don't even know those. Not sure if you addressed this already, but what do you think about the infighting HRD? I'd side with the CEO. To tap that. Like dogs. Dogs. Yeah, more questions about dogs. I like dogs. One mall was empty. Yeah, just bearish on the market. Um, I see your point, TikTok. Thanks for that amazing insight. Yeah, no, I think that's the case. You gotta kind of look at it like that in hindsight. Uh, you look like Trevor Milton, or oh gosh, that's an insult. Don't insult me like that. Calamante, can you please ask Jay Naga to re-upload the weekend live stream? We've been taken down for some reason because there was a spicy take. Uh, Rick is a spawner, absolutely. Mindset is at a 52-week low. Apparently, Russia's banned. Yeah, I don't care about Russia. Russia's the economy the size of Italy. We've talked about this in the past. Back when it was spicy for some reason to even say that, because the United States had this weird asphyxiation that Russia was the great enemy, even though they were kind of like, again, like now it's popular opinion to say this, but it was more fun back then. I used to have actually familial debates, which was funny. And all I would say is I would point to their economic size and how it wouldn't make sense that it was more probably to be propaganda that their military strength was anything close to what the United States can match. Literally fighting the United States is like fighting aliens for a lot of these countries. I mean, should I remind you like what happened in the first couple months of the Iraq War? How insane that was. It was like the Iraqis were fighting aliens. Like barely any Americans died, and I think the kill count was like 300,000 for the United States. It's insane. It's not even a competition. And something like the United States can support that. Russia can't. If it's smaller than the economy of Italy, I'm sorry. It's a regional power. Obama said it correctly actually back in the day. Okay. Oh, that's addressed to someone else about coins. Okay. Any thoughts on Kellogg will sell their plant-based Tyson Foods. They are more established in that field. Yeah, Tyson Foods is going hard. My wife owns Tyson Foods. That's my exposure to that. Any thoughts on Goodyear tires from mechanics? I saw some say that the electric vehicles go through tires faster than regular cars due to the weight. Yeah, that is true. That is true. They do go. I think all in all, I think electric vehicles have a lot more benefits than drawbacks, but there are some drawbacks. And one of those is the tires. The tires is like not a big deal. So in theory, if everyone goes electric, yeah, Goodyear probably going to benefit to a huge degree. Actually, Goodyear makes some good tires that I was thinking about getting for my Tesla. So the Tesla Model 3 Performance comes with these actually pretty crappy tires, in my personal opinion, that don't bode well for winter. But where I live, apologies, that's the coffee coming in. Where I live, that's not really a problem. But if I ever wanted to go up north, that's a problem. Why should one buy index funds when you can get almost the same better returns from real estate? Precisely, but if you have the opportunity, okay, do you have the opportunity? It's all about opportunity cost. Everything in life is about opportunity cost when it comes to investment. You have investment A, investment B. If investment A is there and it's better than investment B, and you go with investment B and investment B isn't as good as investment A, the cost is technically that opportunity cost with the delta in performance between the two opportunities. And so there is a cost implicitly in that scenario, but it's not really a real cost. It is kind of a real cost, but it's an opportunity cost. So if you have the opportunity and you know that you can get greater returns, go for it. Why not? But yeah. Why do you think of NEO and their deal for batteries as a service? NEO is kind of reaching because the company should have probably already been dead. But yeah, I mean, it could work, but it might not work. Uh, Thoughts on oil right now? I mean, I'm out of oil. I'm out of oil totally out of oil as of last week. I don't even know what the oil stocks did today. Let me actually check that out because I don't see them in my portfolio anymore. But yeah, my last bit of ConocoPhillips is now out. I think I technically have some exposure to oil through BHP. Yeah, oil's actually up today, but it's still below that price. It's actually up 6.46%. However, I'd be cautious on oil a little bit because I'm looking at the industrials, and the industrial demand is actually probably going to kind of draw down because inventory levels actually went from a high positive number to a high negative number. So just pay attention to that. But yeah, you kind of want to watch out. I'd say it's more probable that we're towards the higher ends of oil prices than we are in the lower ends of oil prices. So. Have American banks manipulated the price of gold ever? If yes, how? I don't know. There's a lot of debate about that. And the way they say they do it is that they create synthetic amounts of gold, right? And so when they do that, they're basically boosting the supply of gold in the market, and that's changing. Okay, so capital mindset regarding share change. So basically, sum of all PV share divided by the number of shares in the terminal year. No, so what I was saying is if you account and you redact it to its per share basis, and then you kind of reduce the share count, in essence, calculate that as an increase in the value derived per share, and then you kind of at the very end bring it back to the totality of the share count of your new estimated, you actually avoid that double counting. But that's one way of doing it. There's some issues with that, but that's one way of doing it. That's like a dirty way doing it. And that's by the way, that's not that's actually public information. If you actually look up common ways to avoid, or it should be easy to find. It might be a little bit harder to find. You have to play around with the search terms, but it is a common way used to actually avoid that. But again, has its problems. It's not perfect. There's some issues with it. All right, but thanks for why softening dollar is good for the U.S. equity market in the short term is just favorable FX for investors. Softening dollar is better if you kind of pay attention to how the rest of the economy, global economy kind of functions. A lot of debt outside of the U.S. Economy is actually derived in dollars because U.S. is the global reserve currency of the world. And so that's, in essence, a lot of demand for dollars. If the dollar gets too strong, that actually risks a global crisis. It risks a global crisis where there's not enough dollars to go around. And you might hear this as the dollar black hole theory, the dollar milkshake theory, whatever. You might hear it in a variety of forms. There's some differences that you might see between what they call it. I think it's all coming from Brett Johnson, but the thesis is pretty simple. It's basically like dollar go up, therefore debt go more expensive, big problem, sad face, right? Using simple words. But if you kind of think about it like this, a weakening dollar also kind of implies that you could have better exports from the United States, and imports, will become a little bit more expensive in that scenario. But I think we'll have to keep an eye out because the dollar was strengthening relative to other currencies because the dollar is often seen as a safety or safe haven of sorts. But yeah. Operation Desert Storm, Gulf War was goaded. Yeah, exactly. I didn't mean to skip all this. Okay, so do you think it should be easier for retail to be involved in private equity placements? Depends. Private equity depends. There's a lot of risk there. I don't know if it's good for retail. War will get out of hand when third world countries have nukes. Yeah, that's true. Technology will always kind of disseminate. Does anyone know what happened to Tom Nash debate was late? Oh, I can explain that. Basically, he canceled. He canceled on me. Well, his assistant canceled on me twice. So it's rather unfortunate. I mean, he was the one who asked Chris if we could debate. I don't know if he's watching this live stream now, but he was the one who asked Chris to debate me. And because in the last one of the live streams I did, or not live streams, was it a live stream or a video? I forget it was a live stream or a video, one or the other. I made an open invitation to anyone who wanted to defend the Tesla position. And I said it would be just like the other one, where I spoke with another Tesla bull and be respectful. And so he reached out to Chris Strongman, and he told Strongman to let me know to message him for a debate. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so when I did that, all well and good, he scheduled it. Then he canceled on me that day. He has to move it to the next weekend. In fact, I was the one who kind of allowed him to schedule in the first place. So, usually when you schedule it yourself, you're good to go. Then the next date arrived and didn't happen again. Some sort of familial thing, but so, I'm just going off of the email. So yeah, it's probably not going to happen now because I didn't get a respond email when I said, oh yeah, sure, change it, tell me the date and time. I didn't get a response. If I end up getting a response, you guys will know, and the debate will be back on. But I'm in no rush. For me, it's kind of just like I'm just chilling. I'm just here, just doing my thing. All right, real estate can be a massive headache too. Yes, it can be because you have to take into account the time you're going to put in. What do you think about BOJ person? They don't purchase it. They don't purchase. They don't do that. Okay, they don't do that. They exchange. They make an exchange, but they don't purchase. Um, but yeah, the government or the Bank of Japan has been holding a bunch of yes U.S. bonds. In terms of what I think about it, sorry, I didn't even answer the question. When I think about it, I mean, we're going to end up doing what they're doing, but not to the same thing. They're buying a lot of our debt. We're not going to be buying a bunch of other people's debts. I think we're just going to end up kind of like in a similar state of Japan, if I had to guess. When does it make sense to go short oil? Serious question. Me and my buddies have been talking. It's a pretty dangerous bet, but I'd say when you are certain that you see a massive decline in manufacturing data, just look up. There's people in the Discord who are absolutely insane at tracking this stuff, and they're almost like analysts in their own right. But if you see inventory data or industrial data kind of decline, and that could be a good barometer to tell you that oil is probably going to come next because all that demand is going to kind of shuffle its way down through the system, and then that demand drop in oil could be quite drastic. Think of 2008 or pointing to 2008. So even though the supply of oil isn't right there, the capex wasn't made necessary. And that was, remember, that was a bullish thesis on ConocoPhillips, on all the oil companies back when we were involved in that. Going forward, the demand could actually be destroyed to a significant degree. Greetings from Lithuania. Hello. VNC, I'm nibbling and biting, actually. I think I'm switching over to biting because it's actually at the low 30s. Okay, so let's see here. Did you happen to? Oh yeah, so Stellantis. The thing with Stellantis is they're making a bunch of lofty. See, this is where I say don't invest just because Michael Burry's investing. That doesn't make sense. And that's why when I said that about global payments, I'm not investing in global payments because of Michael Burry. That's just like a side commentary. I only said that in the video because I knew if I didn't say it, someone would be like, "Well, you forgot to mention this." All right, but Stellantis, I believe, is a value of Michael Burry, right? It's an investment by Michael Burry. And the thing is, it looks cheap on the surface. You look at it and you're like, oh, it's cheap. I looked at management, the things they were saying. I'm just like, oh, they're trying to be like a salesman here, trying to sell up the company, trying to say, the company's fantastic. We're going to make all these investments. We're going to get all these EV vehicles, all well and good. The only problem I see is that they're heavily exposed to the European market. They're heavily exposed to a lot of auto loan debt because a lot of the debt on their balance sheet, people think it's like a lot of debt, but it's not all of it is the same kind of debt. You actually have to separate it. So take a look at it. But yes. I'd say that all in all, the potentiality that it turns out to be a very good investment is it could happen, but I wouldn't. It's not for me. It's not for me. Why don't you sell your overvalued position? No, okay. I've talked about this in the past. If I had started YouTube in 2021, you would have seen that Amazon was overvalued. I've commented on this many times, again and again and again. I'll comment on it again here. So here's another one. Amazon used to be a much larger position within the portfolio. My portfolio was heavily exposed to cloud, right? I wanted to be invested in cloud. I used to have Microsoft. Microsoft has sold too early. The only one that never trimmed at all was Google. Alphabet's the only one that kind of just stayed. Amazon used to be a much larger position within my portfolio, close to Google, actually, in terms of allocation percentage. And I trimmed it in 2021. 2021 was the year I trimmed because I didn't divorce myself. That's the language I used in the video discussing that. I didn't divorce myself from Amazon. I brought it down significantly. I basically just took off some profits, took money off the table. And Amazon is a company that, yeah, in a lot of regards, it's overvalued, right? In the sense that a lot of people are kind of pricing in a lot of optimism, but it's a company that, should it get back to levels that I agree with, I would be very happy to add to it. Okay, so yeah, I'd say that. And then, so for this comment, there's an article from Mike Stathis on Seeking Alpha on May 13th, 2008, saying there's a 90% chance of recession. 4 months later, the stock will crash. But by then, a lot of people already knew it within the industry. A lot of people. Uh, like I'll say this too. It's like saying when we talked about like liquidity crunch. It's a lot easier to actually spot that you like there's a storm ahead, and then once you're in the storm, it's nearly impossible. In fact, basically impossible to say that's exactly the end of the storm. But I'll tell you this: I did find some of his old literature too. That one is the Seeking Alpha stuff. There's a actual archive of it. But yeah, YouTube drama. What's going on? Because Softman's the king of drama, defamation in YouTube. So YouTube drama right now. I was just hinting at it. I spoke about it in the beginning. It's the chicken guy and Sasha whatever. They're going at each other regarding one is saying the other one doesn't know what they're talking about. I saw Sasha's video and I have a contention with him. I agreed with his overall message, but I have a contention with him regarding what what's going on with QE and QT, like the technicalities. But I even commented, I was like, I'm nerding out on that. Like, but overall, cool message because he is calling out the chicken guy because the chicken guy apparently was saying to buy in January, buy in February, buy in March, and then he quit YouTube, and then now he's telling not to buy when it's down. That's more of indicative, by the way, that we're probably closer to like a bottom than we are to a top. So because people like that, when they make that change, usually it's the opposite. That doesn't mean we're at the bottom. It's like more indicative that we're definitely not where we were before. Okay. Hello, does Tom need an assistant? I have no idea. But that's the story. Tom Nash's prawn. Why would you even want to debate him and then expose him? Well, because use your imagination there. Um, uh, Capital mindset. What is your workout routine? Okay, so Monday is chest day, Tuesday's back day, Wednesday is shoulders day, Thursdays is arm day, and then Fridays is back and leg day. So both of them at the same time. No, I haven't heard of them. Would you be an explanation not printing? Could you explain the government not printing money? Got into debate at work. Got to get my facts straight. So okay, government. It's not government. Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve doesn't print money. Government borrows money. Government borrows money, issues it in the form of debt. That's not printed. Already from there, it's not printed. Fiscal spending can be very inflationary, so you have to separate the two. In fact, the government would prefer you not to know that it's the physical spending, so they prefer you to all think about the QE. They like say, blame that QE stuff. It's not us. Like we're not doing anything. Government spending can be very directional, and then in that directional, it can be in the wrong direction. If it's in the wrong direction, that can be very inflationary. So if they get you to think about QE, and you don't blame the government spending, you don't blame the government spending, you don't blame them in power. Now, QE itself is just an accounting change. It's pretty simple. It's not, nothing is created. It's just an exchange that goes on. And then the intention of QE is to kind of remove toxic assets. They're just removing the pristine collateral, which makes no sense. But yeah, let me know if you'd got more. What do you start anything unless? Oh, we're not going to start on anything unless there's a movie about for us or a movie that what are possible shifts in your thesis that would make you sell Meta? So if I see that they quite literally can't get the metaverse up and going in any form of capacity the way I desire it, I'd be out of there in a decent heartbeat just because there's other better places to put my capital. But we'll see. Because I think now it's just now under my cost basis. So we're going to see about that. Okay, so don't want to You guys talk so much about the stats. I can't find them on YouTube. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them talking. No, Fabio. A lot of people knew it. Not a lot of people knew it. Everyone in the media. Look, we're the first people to say. Look, just look at my CNBC reviews. The media doesn't know what they're talking about half the time, BP. The media. If you're looking at the media for your stock news, then you're always going to be late to the game. It's not about the media knowing it. It's people in knew it. Okay. It's much easier to tell if you're paying attention to it, if you're working in that field. It's so if you're presenting it to the retail crowd, that's a different story. Because there were plenty of firms that actually took on the other end of the debate really early on. We're talking 2005, right? 2005, there were already bets being made to the counter. So it's not that, oh, this is just an unknown thing. Of course, in the media, but that's a low ball, barometer, right? Oh, the journalist majors didn't report on it. Wow, oh, so no one was talking about it, right? So it's like the same thing. That goes to like the meme I made. I made a meme in January. The meme was that the media, CNBC, was going to be late to the game, and then it's showing The Office, and I think I made the receptionist. She was CNBC, and then she points to the smoke after what's his name? He starts coughing. He's like, "Hey, are you gonna like freaking pay attention to that?" And like stuff like that. It's really stupid, but yeah, the media is not a good barometer of like what is truth or what is in the know. If you're using the media as a form of investment research, good luck. But you know. Um, Roasting the chicken. Do you think about war in cloud? Saw a post on Twitter the other day that Azure gained market share percent. They're going to gain market share. AWS is not going to, might lose market share because Azure is growing. Azure is trying to basically be integrative. Capital Mindset is actually going to be using Google Cloud. Google Cloud's also growing pretty fast. But Google Cloud is best basically. So for I'm not the cloud engineer, but the one I'm working with, he basically was kind of going through a cost benefit analysis. Even though I love AWS for what it can do, with my exposure to AWS where I currently work, but Google Cloud seems to be like the best path forward so that we can scale in terms of like the amount of data that has to pass through, because it's actually quite a equities, are you long equity only? No, I'm not really short any equities. I had some exposure, but like to kind of a short position that I don't really talk about, because remember that my public portfolio, and I'm not going to really discuss it too much here, but because I also take into account the responsibility aspect. So if you notice, the rules of my portfolio is to not, I don't show options, period, never, and I never will. Don't show options. I will do a video here and there of like what I've done. All right. So for example, I've shown you guys, and by the way, now is not the time to do it. So change your strategy shift. You probably noticed some YouTubers saying, oh, you should be selling call options, buying puts. No. And Strongman talked about this too, and I agree with him. The time to be doing that strategy was before, when not many people were pricing in this stuff. So if you remember the videos, they're still up, where I was selling some calls, I was generating some really good income here and there. And then that was the time when the market was not really pricing that in. So, or pricing in the liquidity crunch. People were still kind of seeing it. And so I took advantage of that, and I was able to sell some contracts here and there, generate some extra income, and I was able to do some things. Actually, this watch that I purchased recently actually came from that income. So fun fact. But of course, after taxes, we have to put to the side the taxation. The taxman has to get what it's due. But regarding that, I don't disclose any short positions, to be honest, but I only have really one short position. It's from I've mentioned it in the past. It's a TTT, but I'm not going to disclose whether or not I still hold it or not, and I do not recommend anyone follow that whatsoever. Don't even like bother with that. You don't need it. You really don't. So the public portfolio does not disclose options because it's irresponsible, and I really do not want to be responsible, because even no matter what I say, I say do not do it. Someone's going to do it. And so it's best. It's just for me, right? It's just for my pride. If I make a video on it, I decide to make a video. I get questions on options a lot, and I really want to be a responsible citizen at the same time and trying to balance it. I'm trying to balance, And again, I'm learning in terms of balancing, right? Because it is a self-imposed responsibility. Does that make sense? But yeah, so I don't actually short things per se. So to answer your question directly, I do not typically short stocks. No, I'm typically basically always long. or just cash, or just buying other things, maybe real estate, something like that. To be fair, the media is the last group to figure out right before retail. Yeah. No, it's actually going to be hosted here on the YouTube channel, so that wouldn't actually be the case. If it was to go on his, then maybe. But BP, for the colorful language at the end, you'd have to explain how. This is also the good thing about live. You know, you can actually express your thoughts and make your argument, and it's live, so there's no like me preparing my answer, so to speak. Do you see head writers of the Kenobi hired didn't even watch the Revenge? Yeah, yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. I used to be a friend. Uh, I used to be a fan of it. Okay, so I'm just scrolling through. Chad, yeah, it's good. I just figured out what Chicken Genius options training course was, and yeah, I know it's a silly thing, like because that's what again, like um, when I discuss options, it's sparingly, and I think it has to be done in a responsible way because the majority of people do not belong in doing options. The majority of people should, completely stay away from it. And there are ways to kind of conceptualize them. Like for example, just very briefly, when I'm inputting a sell of a call option, I will only do so if one, I am content with the price of the strike price, and I'm up in the position. If I'm down in a position, I won't even like play it. I'm conservative. That might be a more conservative approach. It might be less optimal. Like for example, if you know for some reason that even though you're down, it won't go up to the strike price, you're still doing that. So for example, I sold call options on Unum, sold call options in HRD. Technically speaking, with the HRD call options, some people might consider it like you're taking money off the table because you're getting premium. And then the ideal scenario is you get the premium and then you get to keep the assets if you so desire. But you can put yourself in a win-win situation. But if people are kind of, I guess, they get the dollar signs in their eyes and get too greedy and they make mistakes. Because even then, you have the opportunity cost. So you just have to be content with it no matter what, that you understand that within yourself, you're happy with the strike price and you're willing to take that quote unquote opportunity cost. No, it's not an empty statement. No, a lot of people did know. There were a lot of short positions in the housing market by around 2005, 2006. That is not a secret, right? That is not incorrect. So, yeah. Now, if you're saying that the media was it, yeah, but you're using a very low barometer, very low barometer. Okay, BP improvement. And that's the other thing. But anyway, guys, his stuff is literally all out there, and the dates. Agree with you, Fabio. We already knew that something was bad becoming because yield. Yeah, actually, that was something that I was discussing earlier with some of the people, and in February 2021, there was a little blip, and the market was kind of like, ooh. And then even back then, Snyder was already starting to talk about it, but he was saying it from the context of, the market doesn't really know what the heck is going on. And then in October, that's when we saw a big one, right? And then that's actually when we saw the commentary from the Federal Reserve saying, oh, we're going to tighten, blah, 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 blah. And, it's either chicken or the egg. Some people, Snyder would probably tell you that the Federal Reserve follows that. And then some people say the other thing follows the Fed. Either way, it doesn't matter your opinion. It's basically the same conclusion. At that point in October, the bond market was kind of telling you, hey, it's going to tighten. All right, monetary conditions are going to tighten in some form or another. You could also look at leverage at the time. Leverage was pretty high. We made a video on that as well, talking about the leverage. Leverage velocity was pretty high, as in more and more leverage was being taken on. Also, there was the unmeasured amount of leverage that you could have thought about. Like think of Archegos Capital with all that leverage that potentially is in the system that we're not even measuring. So all that gives you an idea. So yeah, here we are where we are now. Okay, so Calvin Mindset, if you don't use media to get to your stock news, what sources do you use? Seeking Alpha or similar websites? I'd say, well, let me just say, like, you can use the news, but use the news for what the news is like for. The news is definitely not a place where you hear a journalist's opinion on like where something is going. They'll report, and then you got to pay attention to the data of the report. Often look at their sources. Their sources can oftentimes be better, and then from then on, you probably try to find look at their sources from then on at that particular topic. So, like sometimes the news will report on something that is like a month old, a week old, that the data came out earlier, but they didn't come out enough time. Sometimes the news will highlight things that aren't necessarily important, and also be careful when the news tries to put a measurement in front of you and try to make a claim that isn't necessarily true. That's the hardest part. That's honestly the hardest part, because how do we then know what is true and what is false? Yeah, I know. It's easier said than done. But yeah. Okay. Capital Monster, can you please? LE5? Can you please? Oh, you mean elaborate? So liquidity crunch is just, you might hear the word liquidity crisis, but I use the term liquidity crunch. It's basically just tightening monetary conditions, so it shows itself in a broad series of aspects in the economy. One thing you kind of start to see is a decline in that leverage growth. The leverage growth starts to decline. That it kind of like a rubber band effect. It kind of just slams down, and it can slam down pretty quickly. And that's kind of what we've been seeing as well. And you can see that in lending growth decline. We saw that with Wells Fargo's report. We saw that with the various other banks when they reported. Lending growth is kind of a little bit shady there. You also see this in terms of consumer spending. Consumer spending can contract. Again, that actually comes more so from the rise in essential spending versus discretionary spending. Discretionary spending would then suffer because essential spending is on the rise. But yes. Sorry that it's a kind of like response that I have to get through all the questions. Depending on the nature of said business, the moat of said business, and the role I desire it to play in the portfolio, in my personal portfolio. Thoughts on shorting based on price action to hedge against the downturn drawdowns. No, I mean, some people would do it. Again, maybe that's more of an optimization thing, but that's not really like my style. I mean, some people would say that you should be doing that or whatever, but it's not really my style. Sure, if you find someone who can teach you how to do that better, but not really my style. Yeah, that's the thing, Carson. That's exactly what I was saying. They kind of just destroyed Vader as a character. He can't use the Force through fire. He's worse than that. He can't use the Force through fire. It's not about him walking through fire. He can't even use the Force through fire. BP, try to have like a question or criticism in my direction, because you're just saying things now. I don't know. Again, it was an open invitation. I don't know how else to say that. I might be actually buying more LYB. It just depends. Again, that's another thing that I would say, that pay attention to a lot of those producers, because that down the line is going to show up in oil prices. You will pay for Fabio's course. Yeah, 20,000. Take it or leave it. I want to Mike staff his portfolio tracker on the Google Sheet. No, he won't reveal his portfolio. No, it's not really like his style. Don't be stupid, man. He will get some of his followers because Nash is fanboys. Well, wouldn't you say that if it is the case that you say is true, which again, like I'll hint at it, but would it not be better that you convert others from the dark side? Like, because that's the thing. So you want to, if your goal is to kind of grow outreach and convert, right? Would you not want to do that, help them in that way? So it just depends on your kind of outlook with that. So different perspective. I think like BP, I know you have like a very infatuated relationship with that individual. I'm not talking about Nash. I'm talking about the other guy. But you got to be, I guess, more willing to open up. I mean, I'm not really deflecting or talking fast. Ask the question, and then we can discuss the merits of it. Because the thing is, typically your question is like, oh, like, what are your like credentials? Like, I play around with you, BP. I do play around with you. I'll admit that. I do end up playing around with you, because if you get to know me, I'm kind of like a little bit of a troll here and there. I like to have fun. And your questions are usually like, what is your background? I've already discussed my background with you. You can ask it again, as always, but yeah. Who is Snyder, and does he have a channel? Yes, he does. Eurodollar University. Just look that up. You can find him. Uh, let me scroll through this because it took me. Musk and Twitter deal. I have no idea. That's so much up in the air. Uh, all right, so uh, I think so. I've been kind of saying this since the Wells Fargo report that 6 months to a year from then, we would probably see some interesting opportunities. I'm hoping for that so I can actually buy up some real estate. VP's clean, VP, if I would clean the floor in the debate, it made it obvious to the viewer. I think it was, yeah, that's the thing, guys. That is the thing. What's going on with Meta today? I talked about it earlier in the live stream. Meta as a whole is kind of having its headwinds kind of realized, and I think a lot of the advertising stocks or advertising centric stocks, aside from like Alphabet, are having a little bit of trouble today. But yeah, should be an interesting thing. Yeah, we can record Pokemon Night. I mean, I suck. I don't even know anything about Pokemon, dude. I just know Pikachu. Psych Duck is the best. Thoughts on Vale? It's Brazilian mining company. I'd be a little bit on it, honestly. Uh, fell today on the market was green. You see Meta going to 120. Yeah, it could. It could. What do all these tech companies? Why do all these tech companies seem to offer massive stock adoption and elite shareholders? After all, this fighting over the small niche IT workforce. Great question, Dan. I mean, I know you're an accountant. Great question. Uh, I don't know either. I mean, because a lot of these newer tech companies, the thing is, when you're young, when you're not yet fully profitable, when you can't actually get that investment flow, a lot of debt acquisition or debt issuance is going to be quite expensive. So you go for equity issuance. Uh, that's pretty much why. And so they're doing best by their shareholders technically by going after that lower cost of capital. To what extent is good quality, good points and ideas? I do not agree with everything, but I think your mindset is very excellent to investing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How have you looked into Cleveland? No, I have not looked into Cleveland Cliffs. I have to be honest. Okay. Oh, this one. Which brokers do you use for your positions? I use actually a bunch of brokers, to be honest. Charles Schwab, Merrill, Interactive Brokers. I have a very small M1 Finance portfolio, very small. I think I have a Robinhood portfolio, but like that's like was to check out the UI interface. I don't have any money with them. And I might open up a SoFi, just check them out again. Same thing. But yeah. How can one benefit from the secular trend of the aging population in Europe? Uh, um, the secular trend, aging population. Wow, off the cuff response. If I gave you one, probably be a low quality, to be honest. But I mean, depends. Hmm. You could. I mean, mm, I'd have to look into that. Have to look into that, Dark Knight. I'm only hesitating because I want to give a good quality response, and I don't want to be responsible and give a bad quality response. BMW deal, good time to buy. Well, a lot of it's priced in, but be careful with that. A lot of these deal arbitrages, there's risk involved. Just be careful, but could be if it does. Drama Yo Mama. Welcome, strongman. Drama Yo Mama. Let's see here. USA, Europe versus Asia. Where do you think we'll see the highest growth? Obviously Asia, just because demographics are pretty pristine there. USA second, Europe last, and yep, again demographics. Um, and boom, this is exactly the hammer hitting point. Uh, Drama Yo Mama, Julius is my son. Oh my gosh, this is like it keeps going back to the bottom. I'm trying to get to all the questions. Uh, does he actually think that? That's funny. Uh, no, he's not. See, I'm simple question. No, he's not. I don't hide. That's not it. By the way, there was a hot take that I had, but like I went a little bit too hard. Capital mindset. Do you own any Tesla? Uh, why not a Mercedes? So I own a Tesla. I own only one Tesla. I'm buying another Tesla, and the Tesla will arrive in July and August. It will be a newer version, and so I'll probably do a video like showcasing it as I say goodbye to my Rust bucket and my my Rust bucket, but it's a car that I've had for quite some time too. It's my gas car. I'm getting rid of the gas car and the Tesla, replacing with a Tesla Model 3. My wife's gonna have the gas car because we've also figured, like I told you, we're probably gonna buy another property, one that the mortgage is going to be like literally a joke to us, and then just focus on just accumulating capital as much as possible, focus on getting as much assets as possible, and yeah, from there until we decide we want a family, and which will be probably like 5 years from now. Giving you guys too much personal stuff, but yeah. I thought your comment on Carnival was interesting, saying the least damaged company. So in some sectors of the economy. Yeah, exactly. I remember your comment, Dan. Um, Exactly. So in terms of Carnival Cruise Corporation, I would say look for the least damaged companies in that sector, in any sector at all times. What do you do for a living besides YouTube? So currently I work at this company, at the portfolio arm of this company. The company is rather interesting. It kind of also shows like how many different ways there are to actually make a ton of money, how many different business lines there can be. And basically, we look at private companies. So we've purchased a portfolio of private companies over the years. They're like now subsidiaries, kind of tuck-in acquisitions. Uh, BP, I literally said yes. Don't be stupid, please. I'm sorry for being colorful language, but I'm normally very diplomatic. Even with you at all times when you're sometimes I'll admit it can be a little bit irritating, but I'm a very patient person. I'm a very patient person. So all in all, I think that you can kind of recognize that. Uh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm getting back to this question. Um, oh, did I say no? Oh, my brain was in somewhere else. I thought I said yes. What are you living besides YouTube? So yeah, basically that. And right now I'm in the middle of a career transition. You see, and the question is like, why would I say, my current or next employer as a reason of credentiality? If you ask, I tell you, it's on my LinkedIn, and again, it's there. And then the next one will be on my LinkedIn too. And so there's the credentials, but that's not necessarily like a qualifying credential, so to speak. So I'm looking at my cat. My cat's like trying to like come outside. He's like weird. But yeah, and then I also do some things for well, technically I'm going to be receiving dividend income from the company in question because I have some equity in it. It's technically my largest exposure by net worth presently, and then I have my public holdings that I do generate some income. If you see my options, someone who really wanted to can actually um, get to what more or less the portfolio size is if they really took the time and effort, but I try not to make it easy. Uh, and look, I see that a lot of my audience is actually saying, um, oh, fraud. You say like, there we go, fraud. Absolutely. Like, yes, I'm not going to hide it. Like, I'll tell you straight up. Like, the claims that I would hide it is false. I'm just very diplomatic. Okay, so I'm diplomatic for a reason, and the reason is because if I want to be more of like a converter of sorts, you have to be diplomatic. So I would be cordial with anyone, okay, if they came onto the show, anyone. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't give questions that are hard hitting. I think that is why, if I'm being honest, because I don't think the debate will probably go through. I think that's why he wouldn't want to come on to the debate here, because if he came onto the debate here, there would be some interesting questions that would be end up being brought up. Because I don't just say, oh yeah, whatever you say, your valuation, cool. No. That's not how we would always, of course, ask, okay, how did you come up with this? Okay, where did this come from? Where did this assumption come from? These are all things that would have to be kind of broken down if we were doing a analysis on Tesla live. And it would be live. So it was a shame because I think also there would be some interesting opportunities for the audience. But I think my audience, all in all, if you look through the audience, My audience knows. Um, yeah, I know. That's why the media is calling it liquidity crisis. I should have called it liquidity crisis, but the thing is, liquidity crunch. I knew was niche. So then, I took it. That's actually why I said it. And I said it at the time when I said the word. I said this is a weird word. It'll work, and it ended up working. So, yeah. Uh, what is your favorite book? Doesn't have to be about investing. Oh, my favorite book is the Toyota Way. I love that book. I recommend everyone watch it, and it's just an interesting overall uh, book to read. Just the Toyota Way, just to kind of gauge with what's going on. Okay, so I like the book. It's literally just about Toyota as a company. Like, why did they do what they do? How they do what they do? It's really interesting. Recommend it. Just a fun book, fun little book. Um, yeah, sorry, I already answered that one. uh, three bands you're listening to right now. I'm terrible. I'm uncultured as hell, man. I don't really listen to music. It's unfortunate. I listen to music only when I work out, and that's really sad. My wife says it's a problem too. Don't worry. Uh, oh, you gave two. Equity plus total debt. Um, even need plus net working capital plus goodwill, which is better. Depends on the business. You see, that's the thing about this question. Like I said, if you learned anything from capital mindset, if I were to stop making videos tomorrow because I get too busy, which by the way, let me just be upwardly frank with everyone. Some point in August, videos might be like once a week thing because from what I'm told, they're going to make me so busy, like in terms of the work schedule, especially like first couple years, but I'll see if I can do like, you know, well, right now a video doesn't take me much time. You think it does because I currently work a lot too, but videos don't really take me much time. I usually do the videos off the cuff. All the videos are off the cuff. They're not really even prepared that much. So, but yeah, uh, crunch my lunch. Woo! Uh, 10, Lightning has been relatively positive. I think Ford is a sleeping giant right now. They're also building out an EV infrastructure. Rivian will go bankrupt or get sold. Yeah, probably. Oh, yes, I actually discussed this in the conference call or the little Discord call thing, and it was I was looking at some specialty REITs. A lot of remember in the liquidity crunch back in my video in January where I said the REITs would suffer. I ended up being right and wrong depending on which one you're actually looking at. So some commercial REITs was wrong about so far. I think I'm going to be end up being right. So like Realty Income really hasn't really suffered too much, but it is still down. It is still down from that video, but it's not down a lot. And MPW is one I'm looking at, specialty REIT, double-edged sword. I've discussed this in the past. The double-edged sword scenario is like, it's a very specialized REIT real estate. So if your tenant leaves, what else are you going to switch that to? You got to get another hospital operator. But if your tenant's probably not going to leave because you can't just build another hospital down the road, right? So it's a double-edged sword. Um, but yes, I see a question here that's really interesting. Economics breaking to finance. You can still be hired with an economics degree in finance. You can, I mean, heck, go work for, you can try to your luck with a consulting firm. If you can break into a consulting firm, from there, your avenues start to open up a lot. Yeah, my path was a little bit weird. My path is not the typical path. My path was small company that was very lucrative opportunity. And then I can transition over and kind of got a really sweet deal at the time, which was about 4 or 5 years ago. And I think, when did I, yeah, geez, time really does fly back. It's so, I feel so old now. I'm getting older. Every year it's getting worse. But yes, yeah, you can break into probably like some consulting role, depending on how good your grades are. Again, like I said at the beginning of this video, don't squander your time at university. There's so many opportunities there while you're there. Talk to your professors, get to know them. A lot of them maybe work in the industry. Really ask them. Your university, I guarantee you, has events where people from companies come in. Please go there. Stay after their speech. I can't tell you when would go to some of these events and they wouldn't stay after. Like no one would stay. It would just be like, they go there, they get the extra credit form, and then they'd leave. I'd just be like, oh, then you complain about not having opportunities. There's clearly opportunities. Like the CEO of this consulting firm has come and wanted to discuss with you the potential opportunities, and you guys just leave. You guys want to go to the bar and drink. It's like, okay, cool. So when you're there, just talk, get to know people, connections, human connections. The people working there need to get to know you. That has a huge impact because they can vouch for you if you get to know them on that level. They want to see interest. They want to see that spark. But yeah, like don't squander this. That's the only message I have, and I'm saying this at the beginning of the stream. Don't squander your opportunity at university. And there's so many different times to just pivot. But if you want to break into finance, there's literally tons of ways. I know that, for example, there was a well, depending on what avenue of finance you want to go into. I even think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think JP Morgan's analyst program does actually take you if you have an economics degree. I think so, because a lot of the training is on the job. You go through like a 2-year period process that you would go through that training because it's a rigorous program. It's very rigorous. One of my friends is doing it. So I think you can get in there with an economics background. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me there. But no, there's a lot of options. Economics is very broad. One of my buddies went to law school with an economics degree. I mean, economics degree, you can still do a lot if you don't want to work for the Federal Reserve. Yeah, I know. No, and it'll be pretty brutal. But like I already know the team that I'm going to be put on. So there you go. I'm just telling you. I already know the team I'm going to be put on. I'm going to be in a specific kind of team that looks at a specific kind of set of companies. And then my boss apparently is in Boston. He's based out of Boston, but he lives in Miami. It's like, because it's a work from home kind of trend. So I met my team. So me and my buddy were joining the same. Well, I don't know if he's joining my team. He might not be joining my team. I know what team I'm joining. But my team is like not even there, even though the office is there. So I'm pretty much going to be working from home and then going wherever they tell me to go. So then that's gonna be the tough part. Good thing I have the iPad because I can do video still on the go from wherever I am, in whatever hotel I'm in, if they ever make me need to go. So, capital mindset. Are you releasing? Okay, so look, I'm gonna be honest with you. The course thing, because it's kind of like a cost benefit analysis. In order to do, like, I could do like a beginners whatever thing, and that should be pretty easy. Like what everyone needs to know is the basics. I was thinking mentally that I was going to do a sophisticated one with like exams and stuff, and again it would be a free of charge one. So then I was looking. I'm incredibly busy. It's very unfortunate. I'm just incredibly busy. So all that's going on right now with current work, the work that's coming up, and studying for all my CPA exams because my next employer requires it of me that I have to pass it by a certain time period. It's a lot. Like even after this call, I got to work some more, and then I gotta late at night. You think I'm relaxing? I'm not relaxing. I gotta study the CPA exam, and I pretty much spend a lot of time doing that. So it's pretty brutal. So it's about the time, and then otherwise I'd have to give up just making content on YouTube, which is that's like my guilty pleasure, if I'm being honest. And then I just like hang out with my friends. Which I'm getting really hungry. We should probably go to food after this. No, but I gotta work. So I gotta ask her if she wants to get us food, and I'll keep working here. But you see, like, I hope you guys can like tell, I'm literally like an obsessed little freak. So capital mindset with stocks. So I love talking about it. I can go here for hours. I'm older than you, boy. Yeah. Capital mindset, that's on Fast Graphs software. I think it's worth the money. Any recommendation on tools, analyzing investments. So I will say that everyone's gonna have their own little thing. Fast Graphs is good for a multiple approach. I saw like he has a YouTube channel. He describes it. He shows it. It's a multiple based approach platform that allows you to kind of compare historical multiples and then from there project what the potential multiples will be in the future. That's one strategy that one could implement. Okay, so I'm not going to like completely diss it as something that's not doable. I'd caution on the type of business. So I think that he stretches his name is Jeff Carnival. He stretches the analysis a little bit when he takes it to, the company's not profitable right now, so you can use a price to sales multiple approach. No, no, you can't. But like, And remember that that's how his platform is kind of based on. So yeah, that tends to be more of a use case when you're looking at companies with profits and that can be projected back into the past, and then you can try to express that into the future. So it has its limitations, what I'm trying to say, but it's not completely worthless. Yeah. So I would say not like necessarily like it's um, yeah. So it's not completely worthless. Who feels? Who feels what? Oh, you're referring to that. Yeah, yeah. You see, like, there was a hot take, and that was on Jay Nugget's channel. There was a hot take. Economists and auditors start at a higher pay grade. Yeah, yeah. So like, yes. And look, and I'll say like auditing too. I've looked into it in terms of like as a career prospect. It gives a lot of pathways to or optionality post auditing because like a lot of there's actually a pathway into investment banking, et cetera. So there's a lot of optionality. There's like so many ways career paths. It's absolutely incredible. For me, just personally, JP, I can't confirm nor deny. Can't confirm nor deny that. I don't want to like say like exactly what I'm doing, but like yeah, like you know where I'm going, JP. But like I'm not gonna like confirm or deny like what division. We'll see each other if we ever see each other at like you know some event or whatever. Just remember if we ever see each other and like it's not like a well-known thing. I don't want like it to be set. We'll just talk in person. We'll just like between you and I, and we'll just like whisper it. We'll be like yeah, you know. Are you recommending getting? Do you recommend getting a CPA? How's the process? Well, like no, it's not the only way. It's not the end all be all. It's not the only pathway forward. There's so many different pathways forward. It's one of the many paths forward in life. I'm doing it to like kind of garner experience because in your youth, what I believe is that a youthful person needs to take advantage of their age, get as much experience as possible. So I got a lot of experience where I'm at now, and then I want to build on that experience. So I'm also kind of blessed because, like I said, I've kind of hinted at this. I own equity at the current place where I work, and I get a generous dividend from it. And so I can, from there, kind of just focus on building. And then what I want to do in the future is basically up to me. And then so I want to get a lot of experience in the, well, I don't know if I should say it, but I'm going to get experience in a big four consulting firm. I'm going to get experience there, kind of see what pathway that takes me. And then from there, I'm going to, you know, who knows where I'm going to go. You guys will probably see the journey because I'll be documenting it on YouTube unless they stop me. But I saw that there are other people in the firm who do have channels and they talk about various things. They even talk about things that they do there. But I know that I don't think you're allowed to say which one you're at. I know that there's one guy who did say in the video, but I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that. I don't know the rules. I have to actually ask the rules when I'm there and disclose that this exists. And hopefully it's allowed, but as long as I follow the rules. Okay, but this existed before or prior to me joining. So yeah, I'm absolutely hoping that they don't say like, no, you have to shut that down. You can't have that while being here. So yes, fingers crossed. But yeah, you said your question. How is your process going? Are you doing classes? No, no. Well, I'm graduated, so you just need to fit the criteria. So typically, you can get a master's degree, and you just need the credit hours in terms of business. So one way of doing it is you can get 2 degrees. I have 2 degrees. I didn't even pursue my master's. I just started working pretty basically immediately. Even while I was in college, I started working. But then right after I started working. And even throughout, well, technically throughout all of college, I was working because I had a tutoring business, and then I was making some good money actually. You know, that's the thing. You got to also try to think about leveraging your time in such a way that is effective, not with a sacrifice of study. Studies is very important, so don't sacrifice your studies. All of you who are done with college, this doesn't pertain to you. If you're in college right now, think about something that you can do that provides value. And also, if you can also kind of tackle that in, internships are good, but if you can tackle that in with something that gains experience and makes you more competitive in the workplace, all well and good. So internships work really well. Personally, I got really lucky. I didn't actually do many internships whatsoever. I did like some various internships, but mainly I stuck to where I am now and I work there, and then really lucky. I can't express that enough. Like, I'm very grateful. When I'm leaving there, I'm like saying thank you so much for the opportunity, et cetera, and all that jazz. Okay, so have you looked into any investing in Indian companies? Any chance GDP is so explosive growth? Very difficult market. You want to be very careful with India. Just saying that. Couple months, have you ever make a video, teach us how to do a DCF model? It's super easy to do a DCF model. DCF is very easy. The basic DCFs, there's so many different ways of doing a DCF. That's what I'll say to you is, and the thing is, the very basic DCFs has a whole plethora of kind of problems. And then there's two different approaches of the terminal, and then there's the perpetual. And so depending on the design, they can be very effective or very not effective. The simple truth, and this is where I agree with that professor of NYU, Oswath, I can never pronounce his name. He's correct in his valuation class and his literature, his various works of literature, that the fundamentals rules of business have never changed. And it still is true when I look at private entities versus public entities. The end reality, the nature or scope of the research might be different, but the net reality is the same. It is about the cash flows. It's about the potential return we can generate from return to shareholders. It's all that matters. And you can kind of break it down into that degree. Okay. Let's see here. If you make a video, so if I did, I could teach you how to make everything money. But like, I feel like a dick now, especially after I saw how Seth is wholesome. Right? I don't know about that. It's like Seth looks like a wholesome dude. I feel bad. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't feel bad. Why is it? Because it's leveraged. It's leveraged. I don't know who ABC is, but it is leveraged. And because it's leveraged, it's not necessarily going to, on the drawdowns, you be careful because it's leveraged. Okay, I'm hush hush. Yeah. So like, it'll just be between you and me. Like, we'll know, but like everyone else, like, won't know. Maybe maybe your close friends at your office, maybe they know, but like, the partners don't have to know. I probably eat some bowls, maybe Chipotle. I don't know. Maybe some leftovers that I have. If you think Japan scenario is plausible in the U.S., would you not be heavier in emerging markets? No, because emerging markets could be pretty bad too. I don't know. If I eventually start a hedge fund, that would be like after I get extreme amounts of experience. So yeah, like this would be like 40-year-old Fabio. 40-year-old Fabio after many, many, many years and experiences in many, many different aspects of business, accounting, finance, and then maybe I would do so. I know that probably it wouldn't be probably difficult to get seed funding within my network, but who knows? Who knows? It's a lot of stress. It's so also quality of life. Do I really need to do that? Maybe not. Probably not. I'll see you next time, Jerome. Thank you for joining us. Prosus has such a discount to NAV. Always holding companies have a discount to NAV. I remember that VIE thing. Yeah, that sentiment stuff that we talked about all the time. That's why. That's why, Andrew. So my thesis is that if that sentiment gap drops, that it should perform better than Tencent. Why are you getting your CPA? Is it really good for what you're doing now? From what you're doing now, I'm getting my CPA because my next employer requires it. And I'm going to my next employer for the experience, the differentiating experience. Remember that I'm not disconnecting from my current employer. I actually hold equity in it. So, keep that in mind, Zeus. And so I would say I'm in a unique position. So they're going to continue doing their operations from here to Kingdom Come. And then I'm going to have them as a holding. And my next employer can't do anything about it. It's my company. I own a piece. Well, it's not my company. Well, the owners, they see that, they're going to be like, that's not your company. But I own a piece of it. And so I'm fine. And I'm going to be generating that extra income. They're going to be doing what they're doing. I always will have that connection with them at some degree. I can't obviously leverage my next position into giving them any information that's highly legal, but it's to get further experience in that field, exploring different avenues, taking advantage that I can do so, and try to basically go through a pathway of training. For example, you might be asking because yes, it is a pay cut. It's a decent pay cut actually, but again, I'm doing it for the experience and the knowledge. Okay, more than anything else. And so the CPA is just a requirement of it. So why not? So I'll have a CPA. Maybe I get my CMA while I'm at it. But the CPA is really good. It is a good license to have. It gives you a lot of flexibility. Everyone will have, everyone has a CPA and has all that experience, has a lot of exposure. I saw a comment that I didn't, yeah, you see, like, here we go. 2 years of auditing got me as a senior accounting analyst. Boom, here you go. Perfect example. Fake alias gives you the great example there. It's about the versatility, if anything. And a lot of these accountants in here, there's a lot of accountants that follow capital mindset. The community has a ton of accountants. And yeah, do you think getting CFA is worth it for a finance undergrad looking to get into asset management? It's a flex. The CFA is a flex. Depending on the company, we'll have a requirement for it. For example, I looked at JP Morgan. A JP Morgan wealth manager, for example, or wealth manager, they require or they prefer an MBA, CFA, or CFP. So CFA is in there, you see? So maybe it's worth it. And you got to pass all 3 exams. Oh my God. Oh, that would be funny. But you wouldn't be at my office, so you wouldn't get it. Like the people at the office I'm going to is pretty small, if I even go to the office, because again, I'm going to be mostly from home. But yeah, that'd be funny. But Seth doesn't have to know. That'd be funny. I think I answered that question already. Yeah, he needs to invest in that. Tesla question, FSD, robot realistic, I aims for Elon BS free marketing tactics. Yeah, nah. Capital mindset just started a hedge fund. I want to put me in Tattoo Chef. You know it. I'll put like a separate fund just for you, and I'll just put you in Tattoo Chef. I would rather have an ETF. I would rather have an ETF, and I know that seed funding, I would need probably like 100, 500K, a range of that for all the legal paperwork and all that. And I'd rather have an ETF than a hedge fund. And I would invest in it myself because of the tax implication. I just don't sell my own ETF and then I just invest in the ETF. Of course, I'd have to do more research on those tax implications, but yeah, it sounds interesting to do that. I'd probably do that once it's like gets serious. I'm not for finance accounting background, but I enjoy reading 10K in earnings. You see, I think finance and accounting can be for everyone. Yes, and anyone can learn. I love that. I love that attitude, Dark Knight. Kevin Mindset, thanks for the Euro-friendly stream. Very much appreciate it. And that's to show you I appreciate my European audience. I do appreciate all of you. I listen to you guys when you guys say, that's too late. It's not that I'm listening. I'm just like, whatever. No. I'll adapt. And it still works for the American audience. For the American audience, we're still in reasonable time periods. No, careful on that. Careful on that. They're high for a reason right now, but careful on that. Can't give you financial advice. Until they're steal, right, Fabio? It's getting there. It's pretty good. Much better than before. What I said before has kind of played out. What is your, I think, of efficient market hypothesis? There's truth to it and there's non-truth to it. So it is true that technically all public information will kind of reflect itself in the current prices, but yeah, not sustainable. Lafufu has more credentials than you, Fabio. He looks at bowls there. Yeah, he does. Yeah, true. Capital mindset ticker symbol would be it would have to be 4 to 3 letters, but I'd probably make it like Fabo, Fabo, Fabo. I answered this question already, but I'll answer it again. No worries. And it's I use Interactive Brokers, Merrill Edge, Charles Schwab. I have a Robinhood portfolio. Don't have any money in it. I will open probably a SoFi account. Won't maybe have money in it. Maybe won't have money in it. I also have an M1 Finance, very small account. But yeah. What do you think about ODFL reaching maximum efficiency so there's room to be better? Yeah, maybe. I have no opinion really on ODFL. I haven't looked at them yet, but yes. I think all in all, you guys, you guys asked some interesting questions today. Let me see, how long are we at? We're approaching the 2-hour mark. So then at the 2-hour mark, I'm going to cut it. So we have 6 minutes left of any questions you guys may have, whatever they are. I was about to get a house and a new car this summer, but instead I'm going to get stocks. accumulate assets. I'm trying to like, downsize. So my mortgage payments are going to be like basically like nothing. And then so I can just accumulate assets. Uh, Make it over the counter. Yeah. Can ETFs be over the counter? I don't know that. Thanks for the stream, Five. Anytime, Dark Knight, anytime. What is a good brokerage for writing covered call as good as I like all of them. Oh wait, I forgot. I have a U Invest for Chase. I have one from U Invest as well. That's another brokerage I have. Any of them are good. Okay, for options, I don't like U Invest. Last time I checked, they're pretty crap. Honestly, writing calls is so easy on Robinhood because of the UI. The UI is just the best in Robinhood. I don't have any money with them. Yeah. How do institutions close large positions in markets of low liquidity? Well, if you actually see what they kind of try to focus on, um, it's it's they try to focus on more highly liquid assets. Like they try to crowd themselves out in these low liquidity movements. Like they try to sell out like crazy, like the door, everyone's rushing out the door. Retail is typically the last one. So retail gets screwed in this instance because they're like the last ones to kind of get out. And institutional money tends to then crowd into more liquid assets. You'll see portfolio rebalancing in the banking sector for these pristine collateral assets. But yeah. Capital Mindset, you made my audit foundations training more enjoyable. Appreciate it, buddy. Now to pretend like I learned something about walkthroughs. Good. I love it. Fidelity is good. I like Fidelity. But yeah, I like Fidelity. So nothing against them. The reason why I chose those specific brokerages, Merrill at least, is because you can get higher statuses with a bank. And then so with those higher statuses, you get a bunch of other added benefits. Something like for example, after you pass 20,000 with Bank of America, they stop charging you any sort of fees. And then after you pass 100,000, their credit cards actually become like one of the best credit cards in the game in terms of cash back, no annual fees. Of course, this is assuming you're using credit cards responsibly. But yes, it gets pretty crazy, and you can have multiple credit cards of the same type, and you can get basically 5.25% cash back with any fee. I'm a bit of a credit card fanatic as well, by the way. Do you mean super investors? What do you think about super investing or copying super investors? I'd be caution on it. Like just be careful and don't do it just because they're doing it. Look at it yourself. Mindset, why do you think super investors own Comcast? Because they probably see some elevation in Comcast's value chain for their 5G network. I had someone who was interning at a hedge fund in New York kind of described it to me as an old friend of mine. And he was saying that they were buying Comcast a lot. He was trying to spill the beans. It was something to do with like 5G, fiber technology. Don't really remember it entirely, but that's probably why. And once I have enough assets to write calls against. Yeah, see, that's my problem with M1 is that you can't do that because it is very powerful. You can leverage your capital a lot. You can make some good extra income if you do it well. If you do it well, for the most part, that's why I don't disclose like options positions within the portfolio. I don't think it's gonna, no matter what I do. I do maybe think there's a place for me to start discussing options, to try to fight the bad of chicken genius, because I'm gonna tell you right now, no, it's not without risk. No, you're not going to generate passive income. Blah blah blah. No, it's you have to put some thought into it. So um, LaFufu spoke, and then yeah, I know he did. It's crazy. And do you think the pivot is possible from the Fed? Yeah, it is. That's what the bond market is actually pricing. And the bond market is saying that they're going to basically not be as hawkish as they think they can be. So that should show you something. A lot of times the bond market knows a lot more than the stock market. Which of the big four will you get experience? I work for Deloitte. You see how many of my followers are literally in the accounting field. It's absolutely incredible how many you guys are in the accounting field. So I don't know if I can say. I don't know if I can say. Like I literally don't know. I don't know what the rules are because there are people who work for them and they don't really say. They just work. They say they work for them. They have YouTube channels. I'm talking about YouTube channels. So yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. If anyone who works at these firms and is high enough to know the rules, yeah, you see, like JP's right. I shouldn't risk it. I don't want to risk anything. So that's all. That's where I'll like leave it. I'll leave it like I'm going in there, but like yes, you see one of the big four. That's like well, I'll keep it at because I've seen a lot of YouTube channels that do it, and I did that as like kind of like research. It's like what do they do? What can they get away with? So just say one of them. All right. So um, I mean, that probably goes against what depreciation even is supposed to represent, the dilapidation of the assets. I mean, we can have that. We can have that debate as among, well, I'm not technically a CPA yet, but once I'm a CPA, we can have that debate among the CPAs. And I think no. My personal opinion now, based on my experience thus far, is that I don't think so because it doesn't have dilapidation, right? I think you could be able to um, write off the value of some land because maybe like I don't know an earthquake happened, like that's completely destroyed that. But like depreciation is supposed to reflect something very specific, as in the dilapidation of the property. The property, you know, they built it 20 years ago. Is it as good as it was 20 years ago? Probably not. So we can reflect that with depreciation. I know that you know that, Dan, and just explain to the other guys. Um, let's see here. Yeah, 12 years of watching the market daily. Yeah, you see, in Julius, you probably can talk about the opportunities available to you after you kind of leave it. You can pretty much do a lot of other things. So that's one of the benefits. Yeah, yeah, you do. Seth from Everything Money got harassed, doxxed, and then website shut down for saying, "Yeah, I know. I, That's why I'm diplomatic. I'm very diplomatic. But who knows? Maybe I create some enemies. I know I'm creating like some enemies out there. If you can get it. I don't do anything which is good for work, which is good work if you can get it. I don't know which is that a question or something. But we could narrow it down if you reveal which account is. No, no, because I don't know if it like because then it would just everyone knows and then everyone just says it. But yeah, his credentials are no joke. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is. It is kind of a cult. Good thing. I don't know. They probably have to do some serious hacking because we defended that a lot. The current website's down, but that's because it's not ready. I'm an accountant student and want to learn about investing. What should I choose as a carrier? Stock analyst, auditor, account, something else. Thank you. All right, Hamad. Let me kind of analyze your question. He works for Arthur Anderson. I just saw that one. So I'm an accountant student and want to learn about investing. What should I choose as a carrier? Oh, a career. So if you choose auditing, you're going to have versatility. If you go straight into finance, you're going to go and probably into the analyst field, which you can do, and that's going to be varying amounts of experience. Do you want to go into investment banking? So maybe like I know that auditing can be a pathway into investment banking, but yes. So right now we're in alpha testing Zeus, and we have the alpha tester set up. Um, just for full disclosure, Strongman is an alpha tester, just to dox him like that. But we have alpha testers. They're going to be testing the software soon, and well, not soon. They're going to start. I think within the next 24 hours, they're going to be starting that up, and we're going to see the feedback. Of course, it's going to be kind of a tricky thing because the back end of the model is very complex. And so we're finding that transitioning over that to a software is almost like nearly redesigning it from scratch in some ways. In some ways, not. In some ways, yes. In some ways, not. So in order to get all the features available, make it then look good for users and make it easy for users to adapt and make it so that it is also a tool that the user itself can make modifications at random, at will, because they want to make some things like right now I have some things that are automated that, it accounts for anomalies, it accounts for various other aspects and kind of brings it back to normalization rate, something that normal DCF doesn't really account for, but you can do with a lot of math, a lot of statistics. Yeah, it works. So, Beta will be available. Beta is like when we're very close to release, and then we're going to do like a slow release where we're only going to accept few people here and there because of the scalability of Google Cloud. They don't let you scale all the way all at once. So it's just because of the amount of data that we'll have to pass through the servers. So it'll be like a working process, but we are way ahead of schedule. Before I quoted you guys August to like lower expectations, we are way, way, way ahead of schedule. Okay, so I thought we were going to be in, let me be honest, in beta by August. We're probably going to be in beta, I don't know, end of July. So end of August, end of July now. That's where we're at. I'm not working for Archegos, but that's funny. Yeah, they make they're probably never going to touch audit ever again. And audit is so lucrative. If you guys, I mean, you guys in audit know how much audit makes. Audit makes so much money. I'm not talking about the employees. I'm talking about the business. The business makes stupid amounts of money for a single audit. And in some instances, I mean, sometimes more lucrative than tax, but yeah, audit makes a stupid amount of money. And audit just gives you a ton of experience and exposure. I don't know if some of you guys want to share what industries you guys audit. I know you guys can't say names, but you guys can probably share industries. Like, oh, I do the banking sector. Oh, I do like banking auditing is interesting. I've talked to some people who do banking, and they say that's the only client they do all year long, which is uh, yeah, they've done that in the past, by the way. You remember when the Big Four used to have massive consulting divisions where they got sued for antitrust and they had to sell their auditing, I'm not auditing, blah, the consulting divisions, and then you had the emergence of the Big Three. So the fact that the Big Four built them up again is absolutely fascinating. But I think because like the Big Four can be very competitive in that front. I have a friend who works at Boston Consulting Group. He makes a fat amount of money. He went to Wharton School of Business, which, by the way, a fun fact about me. I haven't shared this before. So when I graduated high school, my high school was um, it was a nice high school. We had a lot of um, uh, people who were, I guess you could say, successful, and so my graduating class was kind of a huge mix of people who, well, every graduating class from that school is a huge mix of people going to nice schools. I had the choice between two universities. I actually chose the lesser university in terms of academic, and I think had I gone with the other one, my life would have not turned out as good, which is funny to say. My life would have not turned out as good had I gone to the other university. I would have been probably more straddled with debt, probably wouldn't have made as much money, probably would have landed like more of a well-known job, perhaps, at a larger firm, but probably would not have made as much money. Would have like, I guess bragging rights. But you see like, oh, I wish I had my bragging rights. I don't even know what to do, but like, bragging rights, you wipe those tears away with your dollar bills, right? That's what I would say. And like I'd say to anyone, focus on like where you think the opportunities are going to lie. So I think my younger self made the good decision in that sense. But yeah, anyways, so Boston Consulting Group, he works there and he makes good money. I think he makes like 120,000 a year, and he's doing great. It will be first come, first serve, Patrick. It'll be rolled out initially to, I'll be honest, because I want to reward the Discord members because they kind of signed up and not knowing any advertising. So I'll tell you right now, they're going to be like the first rollouts. That's how it's going to be. I know, drifting, but I want to say like a thank you to them because they're technically helping me pay for the Discord expenses on the front of like having the moderator there. And so I want to actually thank them in that capacity. And as well, like I don't advertise it ever, but I am trying to always figure out ways to try to provide value in that category. But it will roll out, and then just once we can get it to scale finally fully, then it rolls out to like more and more people. Then we can probably take on like hundreds, But in the beginning, we're going to be scaling bitty by bit by bit. Okay. Oh yeah, no, the weather is always beautiful here, except on summers. Well, not summer. Summers is beautiful because you have storm in the afternoons. I love it when it rains. I love the darkness. Yeah, I know. No, it's actually because you see this. I have no melanin in my eyes, so I always have to wear sunglasses outside. It is pretty bad. gotta say. Is it bad that most audits have been on we've run or lost for the firm? Wow, really? I mean, what kind of audits are you doing? How much will I charge for what? Context. Oh, wait, maybe the context is on. Maybe I'm missing the context. Oh, okay. So, oh, you're talking about the website. So, I'm thinking it's going to range between in the beginning. Yeah, it's probably going to range between. Hold on, I put it down in the notes because we had a meeting on it because we were going over costs and everything. Let me just see it. Yeah, we have a planned launch. If we cannot add any other costs to launch it at about anywhere between $15 and $20, but we're trying to see if we can optimize something so we can actually get it under $15. And then if we can do that, then I think we can scale even more because it's going to be a pretty good tool, but that's all it will be. I'm not going to fake advertise. It's not going to make you an amazing investor. No fake advertising. It's just going to be a tool, and it's going to give you the data going back 30 years. It's going to be a tool. I'm going to add to it over time. And I already have it pre-ready that I can add the pro forma documentation analysis for real estate that I actually also use at work. I don't show that on the channel. I never shown that on the channel because there's no point. We're not analyzing commercial real estate properties, but there is one that exists. Okay, so I'm experienced in adult entertainment audits. Absolutely amazing. I audit schools, universities, and yeah, you see, look at like when somebody starts to say that the experience they have. I know Julius is probably a little bit trolling there, but like there's so many wide areas where you can get experience in auditing that's why it's so versatile. Um, uh, yes, it is in Orlando, Ethan. The way promise us to keep videos the way they are and not succumb to clickbaiting techniques, doomsday thumbnails. Well, I only do that to make fun of them. So you don't worry. If I ever do it, it's completely to make fun of it. Like in the most recent one where I did something similar, I said something along the lines of, if you clicked on it for that reason, shame on you. And I think it was the analysis. I think now yeah. So now the audio just changed because my headphones just died. So, oh wow, I can hear. I had the audio canceling, so now it's so weird. You guys probably, it sounds a little bit different. It's almost like a sign that I should end soon, but I'm also so hungry. Let me just put this in here. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to bring that comment up because that's like, it's getting close. But yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to like change the way it is. You don't have to be a finance major to do consulting. I've seen technology. Yeah. Like consulting is like almost anything. Like consulting, I was telling my friend who has a biotech and biotechnology degree to go into consulting, and they pay him fat if he can get the experience. Like, I don't know if that's slang, by the way, but fat means a lot. So they can pay him a lot of money. But yeah. Oh yeah, you know which one. He's citing it. The monthly dividend stock video, that's the one where I was like, shame on you if you clicked on it for this. Because I was making fun of it. And I gotta do that sometimes. I've been like playing around because remember, my idea is to try to convert people. So share it with your friends, by the way. Share this channel with your friends. And you know, just take them away from the irresponsible ones. I had an interesting conversation with someone this morning on it, but yeah. Okay, so write down the fair values. Yeah. You see, like you're gonna learn so many different things. And JP, I know because of where you live, there's a lot of them there. But yeah, it's so many like when you're in audit, you're gonna see so many different companies, and you're gonna get all this experience that that's why when you leave audit, you have like all these different pathways forward that you can go work in these companies in the private sector, or you can even go into some investment firms and then work for them as well. So that's pretty much where I'm like, if I'm being honest, that's where like I'm gonna try to like pivot more or less, and then get more experience there. Um, all in all, have you ever tried Stuck Unlock platform created by YouTuber Daniel Pronk? No, I have not tried his platform. But if I know Daniel Pronk, it's that kid. Which nothing against him for being a kid. I'm a kid, so we're both kids. But yeah, I'd see. Okay, Patrick. So yeah, I would love feedback from the community because you guys are like the driving force of the channel. So feedback from the community is all welcome.
how much time did you spend on cost control to get to those levels? It's amazing. So we tried, it's been a lot of optimization around trying to figure out more efficient ways to like get data, more efficient ways to host the data. Hosting is expensive. It's also, we have to draw estimates on how much people will pull the data, how much will the traffic be through the website, because that all adds to the variable cost. So okay, sorry, we were out for a second. If we like see any other ways to kind of improve efficiencies so that we can get more improvements on that front, we'll do it. And that's also like how I have it structured for the payment system for the okay, my Wi-Fi I think is starting to take a little bit of a poop or something. I don't know why. It was good throughout the whole stream. It's like it's telling me like my iPad's like saying, you know, you got to get off soon. But all in all, yeah, that's pretty much what we're trying to get it down. So he's incentivized to do that, and that's how I kind of set it up. If it's anything like you guys can see, like for example, on the Discord, I tried to, for the deluxe members, I tried to make it even cheaper, but the authentication service I used did not allow it. So it's actually sitting at its cheapest. I'm not really bearish on Apple as a company. Look at these, all these comments on accounting. This is public info now, but the company I was made a massive acquisition in the U.S. thinking Biden would legalize cannabis after getting elected. Just so stupid. Yeah, 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 I know. Anywhere between 15 and 20. Anywhere between 15 and 20. But 15 is what we're trying to aim for, especially as like a starter place. Definitely a starter. That's what we're aiming for. So we're going to have to do last minute, again, calculations on estimating the amount of data that's going to travel through the system, how many requests are going to be made on a daily basis. Because someone who wants to do analysis on like, I don't know, like 15 companies in a single sit down or much, you know, all that's going to have a cost associated with it. So we have to kind of contemplate all that because we're hosting all the data through Google Cloud. So yeah, any of you who work in cloud, you know, you probably can get a feel for that. But yeah, so a lot of stuff. So if you guys have any last minute questions, I'll answer them. If not, I'm going to end the stream here. Pretty good stream, all in all. Really enjoyed the conversations I had with all of you, and yeah, nice beautiful day. Actually, I wish I'm going to go like get my bathing suit and jump in the water maybe. I do one on every Monday for the. I don't advertise it because that's not like the quote unquote grift. I don't advertise, but I do it every Monday. If you were asking for, well, today I did it today on Tuesday, and it all depends on how the viewers want to be active on it. So if they ask questions, I talk about it, but I do it on the deluxe Discord. So I'll do it on the first day at the very least of the market per week, and I'll go over any news that I find interesting, answer questions. People, there's like it's basically like a stage feature on Discord. The Discord guy set it up for me, so he sets up everything, and I kind of just use the features. He's the Discord genius. Okay, so and then he sets it up. People can raise their hands. I bring them on, but yeah. I do it like that way. That's how I do it. Capital Mindset pool party is Saturday. Oh, thank you, Patrick. I'll enjoy the rest of my day. So I've been thinking about doing some sort of like, yeah, like some bundle feature, but I want to have them almost like separated because they're technically different people with different incentive structures attached to them. Because the way I've done it is I have it so that the guys who work with me on each one, they have like different incentive structures for it, and they're kind of more or less connected. So I have to see how that can work, but that's definitely something I'd probably consider. Most likely, I'll say it's probably something I'd consider. Austin said he would actually try to come onto the Discord stuff here and there because he wants to actually discuss some things. Because he's also a little bit of a freak. He's working in accounting right now, in public accounting as well. But I'm not going to name drop his company. It's all within his right to be discreet about it, but he's working in tax. I'll say that. That's about it. Any chance to get Discord calls archived so we can listen to a later date and time? If I do end up doing that, Discord's actually trying to implement a feature where you can actually share live content with your streamers. Like they're trying to get a streaming feature on there. And Discord's really optimizing. So eventually, and I know this is happening soon, they're going to have a way, because I asked people have been telling me that they would subscribe to the deluxe, but they don't trust the current payment system because it's an authentication. It's a third-party authentication service. And so Discord's launching their own mechanism for that. Oh my gosh, I'm even losing my voice. But because technically speaking, guys, I've actually been live for 4 hours. Because 2 hours on the Discord, 2 hours here. So you got to understand, almost 2 hours and 4 hours and 30 minutes. And I've allowed the work to kind of pile on. So now I'm going to be working throughout the night, with including CPA studying. But I'm thinking about figuring a way to do it. Right now I have a kind of a caveman process of doing it where I just write up a summary. I type it up, create a PDF, submit it, and it gives a summary of what I was talking about because I know people work. But I'm trying to figure out a better way to optimize it. There's other ways. There's going to be ways that we can figure it out. No worries, fake alias. Enjoy work. I'm going to be working too. I do sometimes the same thing. I listen to YouTube while I'm working occasionally. That's why I might listen to music. Capital mindset. Tough question. No such thing. What is the best way to understand accounting / finance on your own without university? Let's say the goal is to understand all the terms in the model. Shameless plug, watch my videos, and over time I guess I do that effect. Yeah, like almost like yeah, I mean, if you watch all my videos, I basically say everything. There's not really anything I don't say. I mean, I unless I'm saying stuff. James Tip, what? That's funny. Sorry. But anyways, yeah, eventually, I guess across time, my videos should do the trick because I am using the tool all the time. And so I do talk about it here and there. There's some unique metrics I've made where I work. And so something I learned when I was in finance is like, my professor told me, once you like become comfortable, you can start to create your own measures. Of course, really try to understand what your measures are trying to measure. But yeah, you become almost like customizing some measures here. What does the Cuban drug lord do for a living? He's the one who's in medical school. Yeah, he's the one who's in medical school. Thanks, Fabio. Great to be able to talk to someone in finance in the minefield of YouTube fake investors. No worries. Anytime you send the younglings my way, and then they can always ask these questions because I guess I've been more recently in like their path, but like, yeah, send them my way, and then ask them to ask me these questions during the live stream, and I'll always repeat it back to them, or just like repeat what I'm saying here. It's like, but all the younglings, if you're in university, don't squander the time there. There's so many opportunities to connect with CEOs, connect with people in the industry, and the fact that you're a student actually leaves those doors open. Do not squander it. And then even if you're towards the end, you can still make up for it. One of my close friends, named Nameless, had a very bad GPA, but really focused in towards the end. Now they have a good job. They do have a good job right now, and they're going to get a lot of experience, and they're going to do great in life. I have full faith in them. So there's not really a time to like lose out. And even if you did squander, you're always recoverable. Things that cannot be recovered is something bad happens to your health. You do something bad to someone else's health that is irreparable. Those are irreparable damages. But your education is not something that's irreparable, and that's my point of hope, I guess. All right, so thank you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. No worries. I enjoy this time with you guys. I enjoy talking to you guys. Of course it is. And again, Sleep Number, when they did their analysis, I'm telling you, they did a very poor job at analyzing that stock. Maybe me saying that made it so that they'll never come and talk to me. Because Everything Money is probably not going to like that, but I will react honestly with anyone, and I will say when they're doing something good, doing something bad. I don't care. Of course, I'm diplomatic. Okay, so that's why. But I'm not going to hide the truth. Right? I'm diplomatic. I'm polite. I pride myself in that. But yes, all well and good. When I started investing in 1998, I had nothing like YouTube finance. I'll take the good and the bad. Exactly. I think that overall, this is more good than bad. I'm optimistic about it. I know there's a lot of bad. You know, we're always talking about the bad. The bad's all there. The bad's all, you know, around us in terms of like YouTube finance. But I think there's good. I think there is good. I think there is enough out there of good people who, and also I believe in people's intelligence. I think people are smart enough, and if presented with ideas and facts, sure they might suffer some loss, sure they might suffer some pain because they went down the wrong path initially, but there's always like the opportunity that they can course correct. And that's, you know, as I was saying with educational backgrounds, your rectal virginity is something that you cannot get back. Yeah. So if you mess up that bad, yeah. And then I'll say this, like, you know, the ones I will say is, if you came across a lot of money and you inherited it or whatever, you know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You got lucky. Good for you. Uh, but I'd say that that person needs to be a little more cautious with their investments than someone who has a continual income. And I always say that with like the into the context that, like, okay, sure, when you're young, you can take on more risk. No, that depends. Like, did you inherit $1 billion? Like, no. You know, what's the probability that you generate $1 billion in your lifetime? Be honest. Like, you know. All right. So, yeah. On that note, guys, I'm gonna let it go because I got a lot of work, and this iPad's about to die. So we basically pushed this iPad to not, well, it wasn't fully charged, but it was at like 50%. So we pushed it to its limit. It's at like 13% now. Good battery life, gotta say. But yes, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.